Shalom, shalom. Welcome in, y'all. Hopefully, all is well. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Worship Podcast. Listen, we about to get this thing rocking and rolling, and welcome back to the part 2 of the testimony for Ray Lopez, testifying to Straitway Truth Ministries. Listen, we're going to shed some light on some very powerful things, because we know here at the Worship Podcast, listen, we know that light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience, and that patience creates unity. So let's get unified in the spirit, y'all.
Is the sheep preaching hate? It says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore. If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf the violent one? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. Somebody's knocking you over the head, stop him. Do whatever you have to do to stop him. The ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate. He's violent.
All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get this thing rocking and rolling. Listen, we'll shout out with a few shout outs real quick. For all my righteous alpha men, drop some rams in the chat for me, please. And all my elegant women who's exceptional, drop some sheep in the chat for me, please. We're gonna get this thing rocking and rolling, y'all. It's a very special part 2 here. So I'm so glad that you guys are here with us. Shout out Seasons of Journey. Welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Shalom. My mother Shay. Welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Bless you and shalom. Kitchen Clock 2. My brother, welcome in. My brother, sister, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Shalom, shalom. Sister Rose, welcome back. Shalom, shalom to you. Welcome back, Mama Joy. Welcome in. Welcome back. Good, great evening to you as well. Bless you and shalom, shalom. All right. We got some brother Odell. Welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Bless you and shalom. Welcome back. Shalom, shalom. All right. We got some ram and the sheep in the chat here today. Let's go ahead and get this ball rocking and rolling, y'all. Honestly, tell you the truth. Today's episode is not for the faint-hearted, y'all. We're diving into part 2 of our interview with Ray Lopez. All right, a woman who spent nearly a decade inside of a ministry, the ministry called Straitway Truth Ministries, that operated like a cult and is a cult. You understand what I'm saying? Of course, just based on behavior, right? She was trusted by leadership, right? Not only that, they saw the level of obedience, right, within the system that they designed. She gave up everything, okay, even her marriage, all right, only to be overworked, spiritually abused, and left broken, okay, at the end of the day. She's here telling her story, right? Letting you all know what it's like for a single woman, right, to be in the Straitway Truth atmosphere, Straitway Truth Ministries, bravely, boldly. I would like to welcome you guys and welcome her to the platform. Bless you. Shalom. Welcome in. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Back again.
Hallelujah. Hold on a second. All right. So let me do my test real quick. All right. Go ahead.
Can y'all hear me good?
Let's see. You're off. Let me get my audio real. One more time. Here we go. All right. Now you should be good to go. Should be good to go. Okay. All right. Yep. You solid. You good to go. How is your day going today? You doing all right?
Good. Yeah, I'm ready to get right into it.
Let's get into it. Yes, absolutely. We're going to get this thing rocking and rolling. All right. So when we left off with part 1, we were talking about basically your journey, basically the experience, not only from a single mother's perspective, a single woman's perspective, but for somebody who's spent now, I know that I said nearly 2 decades, it's only like nearly a decade. So it's probably about 10 to 11 years. All right. In the ministry. I want to correct myself on that. And what I really want to do now, what we're looking to do now, right? Looking to accomplish is breaking down more of the, I guess, details And what exactly, like, as far as your personal experience, we want to unpack it and break it down for those who honestly, who need to hear the journey, who need to hear the true testimony. And what better time to do it than to do it now, right? We got a lot of the surface level things out of the way. You know, you did a great job executing everything that was needed to know in that part one, right? And so now on this particular, right, just leading out, okay, life on the inside, okay, once you're on the inside, how did you become a trusted figure, right, in the ministry? How did you become a trusted figure, and what responsibilities came with that trust? What responsibilities they give you?
Um, I think I was trusted because I served and I was very obedient. I stayed very quiet. Um, and I like upheld that image. I had did what I needed to do to get the amount of understanding I needed of what the ministry was about, and I was in like full speed ahead in terms of
Mhm.
executing that, and then making sure that my daughters were executing that. And so um
Right.
your trust doesn't really have anything to do with the character. It's more so about how compliant you are. And so I was just very obedient, and the responsibilities that I got with that, I just got to be, I think, a little more close knit with um the leadership. I had a little bit more insight into their homes, or into the home of the leaders that were over me, and just the responsibilities that came with that, like helping out with their children or their wife or different things that they needed done. So, yeah.
Okay, so that was some of the responsibilities as far as being trusted to be around the inner family, helping out with the children, and being able to help out with other tasks that some of these leaders may need it from you. Now, in that space, like, in that environment, were you like one of the sisters that they really leaned on to be able to get some things done and accomplished? Let me hold on, wait a minute before you answer that. Can you go landscape? How's it look
Can I go
landscape for your,
landscape?
yeah, for your camera, for your phone camera?
Okay, okay, okay.
Hmm. There we go.
Yeah,
All right. How's that? Okay. Yep.
yeah. Okay.
Does that work for you? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right. Bring yourself. Can you come a little closer to us? Say sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then okay. Now the is that a book? Can you fold it down just a bit? It's just a little in the shot. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. Perfect. Okay. I'm just thinking about it for the thumb. Okay. Perfect. All right. So that's perfect. All right.
Cool.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah. And so with them trusting you there, were you like one of the sisters who they really heavily leaned on? Like when they needed somebody to go to, were you like one of them who was on that list to say, you know what, she can do it. I'm gonna lean on her.
I would say yes. They knew um where your strengths were, and those did get exhausted. So for me, yes. Hmm.
Right. Okay. So now, even with your level of access, right, and respect, did you feel like that something wasn't right? Like, and if so, how long did it take you to kind of start to really figure it out?
Um, Honestly, I think that my body knew before my mind did. Um,
Mhm.
when the inside started to be exposed, I would say specifically when Pastor Rufus started speaking out, because we were very kind of, Kentucky was not, or I would say the women didn't really know or have much intel on that. And so when it happened, the Patreon videos started coming out, or wherever they were, whatever platform. Once those videos aired, it was like, what is going on? So already they kind of had control of the narrative, and it was like, just don't watch those videos. Um, we were just told, like, leadership knows what they're doing. Just, don't worry about it. And it's like,
Right.
this is a big thing. What do you mean? Okay, but that to me was weird because this was, the testimony that entire family had is like, I can't just keep going and act like nothing is going on. So I definitely watched his videos very diligently. And me knowing the type of character that this man had, I could easily see how genuine he was. And, it gave me a different perspective than the one I had of everything going on. So once I started watching that and the things started to really come out and allow me to piece things together, that was pretty much all I needed to see to just start questioning. Because before that, it was just what they call the blind obedience. I didn't question anything. I really didn't. But that was the only time that my ears started to kind of perk up to something maybe weird taking place.
Right. Right. And so the departure of Pastor Rufus and then the whole situation that jumped off, they're like, look, bury your head in the sand. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. Listen, they got
Just
it
keep
under
working.
control.
Yeah.
Just worry about the narrative that we've presented to you and just focus on that. Like, which
Right.
is like sort of quote 101. It's like, listen, like we're supposed to diligently inquire about all the
Yeah.
matter, right? Get both sides of the
Mm-hmm.
story to really truly see what's going on, you
Yeah.
know? And so was there ever like a moment you felt like trapped by your position or by your level of relationship when it came to the saints there? Um like
Mm.
like maybe like you couldn't like speak out or without any sort of consequences that may fall upon you.
Oh, absolutely. The most that I felt silenced in the ministry was probably when I landed in Kentucky.
Mm,
For me, that was the goal. That was the place that I thought I needed to be, and nobody could tell me otherwise. But it was like the more that I was there, um, every day became a reminder that I really didn't have a voice.
right.
Not every woman there has the liberty to express herself. Some do. That privilege really is only given to certain women in a sense to where they're actually heard. But then you take it a step further, being a single woman, like anytime something is wrong, a woman can easily go to her husband, and if it's the workload, if it's the schedule, or if it's the way someone dealt with the children, they have someone to go to. But as a single woman, you really don't have the same environment to like share and express certain things. So there's kind of always like a underlining of disrespect, because you don't have a head, like an immediate head. So like I felt like my belongings and my time, my space, my children, they weren't really respected. My room got used for deliverance, my bed got used. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just that I know that it was only happening to me because I didn't have a man, whereas the other women were not being required to do certain things, or if they did, there was always an asking. So it's like there
Right.
was a fear that would come from a woman being married where she got treated with a little bit more respect. And I noticed that everywhere. So that was probably pretty silencing, for sure, because I didn't really say anything. I didn't feel like I could.
Right, right. And so your status and how the level of respect and honor that they may have showed you, they lacked it because you didn't have the covering. So instead of
Yeah.
them coming to ask, they just took it upon themselves to help themselves to the things.
Right,
That's
right.
interesting. That's interesting because I've heard that report. I've heard that report multiple times, right? And
Mhm.
so it just validates your claims. It even strengthens your position because I've heard that multiple times that, of course, with the single sisters who don't have a covering, it's almost as though you're like a second class citizen or something. Like
Yeah,
you're like
yeah.
almost like, well, whatever, like, um, which is interesting. I'm not too sure as to why, it's instantly like that. Now, did you have anything to add to that?
No, no, no.
Okay. So now what kind of pressure was put on like a lot of the women who serve, right? What kind of pressure was put on them? And how did it affect your identity and health?
Mm. The expectations changed based on where I was. So, like when I was married in the ministry, I had expectations from my husband at the time. Then, when I was in Dallas, when I was in Houston, when I was in Kentucky, the expectations changed, but consistently, I was expected to be joyful, and have joy all the time. Essentially, the expectations led to like a deteriorated health and a sense of self. I was expected to show up and work and serve and be obedient, um, love people even if they clearly showed a hate or disdain for me, or if they were a danger to me. Um, a lot of
Right.
the expectations were very unrealistic. It doesn't go without saying though, the expectations of men too are also the same. It's still damaging. It's still, it's man or woman. The it's unrealistic. There's a push for, how does he say it? How does Dowell say, like, you expect out of others what you are not capable of doing
Capable of
yourself, and
producing. Yeah.
that's exactly what happens. And there's no
Hmm.
wonder that homes are secretly struggling. Everybody is doing something, starting with the man, like his, his choice he doesn't have to really be able to make for his home, and then the woman is seeing this and feeling it before he knows. She can see it before he can see it, and then it's hard for her to respect him. And how does she show up for the children? There's so many ways you could take it, but the expectations are just unrealistic. I think that's the best answer that I could give. There's a lot of them, and they're very hard to fulfill consistently.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine that because, like, man, just be bombarded with different tasks, but also to have the lack of respect, even, you know what I mean, to even consider whether or not you would want certain things to be done, is just like, I know it's like discouraging when you're like
Yeah,
thinking
it
about it and
is.
you're like, man, I really didn't want that. But like, you feel like you can't speak on it, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to ruffle nobody's feathers, you don't want to get under nobody's skin, and
Mhm.
that's one of the biggest things. Now, with that being said, right, I had a bit of a clip, right, that I wanted to share with you. And I want to get your opinion on this, right, because I think it's pretty important. Now, this right here is from a broadcast. Hold on a sec. Boom. All right, there it is. I believe from the Straitway Help Meets Truth Help Meets channel. And it was pretty interesting because, of course, Sister Karisha also was a part of the Kentucky group as well, like with
Right.
you there in Kentucky prior to her departure and going to Praise Land. Can you tell me a little bit more about your relationship with Karisha? Um, I
Karisha.
mean, Karisha. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Um, I would say for me, yeah, I did know Karisha very well. We met in Texas actually. And I spent a lot of time with her there in the beginning, because her room was allowed to be the room for visitors. So anytime that we came, me and my daughters would sleep in her room, sometimes with her, or she was somewhere else. She just, her room was for the guests, and so we spent a lot of time together through that. But also, eventually, once I did have the divorce, she was someone that I spoke to very often. Just now that our stories have become similar, and I had already knew the type of woman that she was. I developed a respect for her. So we were pretty, I won't say like super, super close, but I knew her very well. I know Karisha very well. In my mind as a single woman, she was like the blueprint, honestly. The way that her life, I guess, played out, and just again the testimony that she had in the ministry, and the strength that I did see from her, it was like, this is, someone that you look to for understanding because you're in a similar situation now. So anytime she spoke, I was very in tune and listening to then pattern that.
Right. Nice. And so when she departed and went over to Praise Land, what was the atmosphere like? Like what did, because at that point she was like a pillar, an example, because you were walking the walk, and you were a single woman at this time, with your children, and she was like that pillar, somebody you could look to for an example. So when she went to Praise Land, what was the atmosphere like? What was the conversation surrounding her departure? What was going on, not only with yourself, but also with some of the individuals on the community, things like that?
Yeah, so to make the timeline make sense, I was still in Texas at the time of her departure. All our communication was like Marco Polo, phone calls, emails, things like that. It was all
Right.
through social media and whatnot. So her moving to Praisland didn't really disrupt anything that we had going on, but I remember very specifically the videos, and just even from still communicating with people that were on the land, how hard of a hit that was for them. She left such an impact there that I know when she had to go, it was a lot of tears. And I think there's a video of that. I think there's a video where everybody that was on the land shared their experience and their well wishes for her, and everybody spoke highly of her. And but for me personally as well, having insight on that, I do know that Mitchell spoke highly of Karisha. He would use her as an example, and Erica too, about just how she was, and this is what Karisha did. And she was such a, it was just always good things to say. It was just always good things to say. So in my mind, I never had anything bad against her, or things that I didn't feel like I needed to take in. Like, she had a tree with fruit that I was willing to eat off of. So yeah. And that never changed.
Right. Which is great. Okay. Hallelujah. And I know a lot of it took place. Um, and so we're gonna take a listen as to what she had to say in this particular clip. And I want you to just kind of weigh in on that, because I know that here she's just like, so I'm gonna play it real quick, and let's hear what she has to say.
Can I say that? Or it comes with challenges?
It comes with challenges because what it is you have things that you want to do. Like, I want to do this for me. I want to take care of my children, but at the end of the day, it's not about your children need to come last. You need to take care of the community first.
Yes.
And
I get that.
Yes.
That's like, whoa, you just hit the sound waves with a loud bang.
Yes.
With that. So I'll hold that in the back of my mind for another point in this interview.
Mm-hmm.
So continue. Okay, you put your children last, and you put someone else before them. Go ahead.
My children know when it comes to Elder, I said, y'all have to wait. I have to take care of Elder. If Elder needs anything, I'm going to be there right away. Even if I got hurt, I'm considering him first, because there's certain things that he's not able to do, and sometimes it won't be communicated, but I'm the one who knows what he needs for right now, and sometimes he'll call, Kabir will call me. He's like, do you know what this is with my dad? I'm like, yeah. Or Elder would say, Kabir, no, Karisha knows what to do. Go get Karisha.
Because you formed a bond.
We formed a bond. We formed like a friendship. I see him like my dad, really, I see him like a dad. So it's important that his needs are met before my own and before my children.
And your children don't receive it in rejection,
No.
like the mind or the rejected mind might hear
No.
that. Like if you put your children behind someone else, they don't necessarily have that rejection that the mom has, that
No.
offense that the mom has, right?
No, not
Right.
at all. They're like, okay, mom.
So this is something that I really was intrigued by when she spoke on how her children came absolutely last. I really want you to weigh in on this because from your background and expertise as being a parent coach, I would assume, right, that the children would have a longer lasting effect as they get older. Maybe once they get up there in age, they may experience a bit of, well, rejection. You know what I mean? It might set in a little bit more as they go on in this fashion. So, but me personally, that's me coming from my angle. What saith you? What do you believe?
That's a really good clip to pull up. I will say that is a great um, summary of an example of how literally the indoctrination of self-abandonment takes place.
Right.
Looking at that now, I see a woman who has internalized the belief that her
I
own needs.
I don't know if they quite if it quite sunk in what you said. The indoctrination of self-abandonment. Wow. Okay.
Absolutely.
Go. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just unpack that a little bit more. Go ahead. I don't know if it just quite sunk in for everybody, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. As I was saying, she's internalized it. She's calmly speaking her belief that her own needs, her children's needs, and even her physical well-being must come second to her male superior. Um, she says it like it's not about your will. In spiritual context, I can understand that, okay, but then to say your children need to come last, that's when it becomes alarming. Um, this is the psychological hallmark of that high control religious system.
Mhm.
She's clearly displaying that to us. There's nothing that you can say to counter that. You see the disconnect from self,
Mhm.
the displacement of her maternal instinct.
Mm.
No mammal turns away from their child, naturally. And to
Right.
literally say that they come last, then the obedience to leadership as this is like your ultimate form of righteousness. How well you do this is how holy you are. This is the mother is the highest calling,
Yeah.
but you see it get flattened under the weight of this false spiritual duty. And so that is
Mm.
literally that the term for that is physical inversion, because you're inverting what is actually there and try to replace it with spirituality. And so
Wow.
that's I just that's a good clip. That is a good clip because a single mother's mind, definitely that's where she's at. A married woman probably wouldn't even be tending to him. Uh But
Right.
if she was, all her husband would have to say is, he wants his children taken care of, or, he's able to set boundaries and parameters around how much his wife is able to serve this man. But for a single woman, like, you have to put your children last. You have a job to do, and it is to serve on a community, whatever that looks like. That is your role. And so it's not to say that there aren't like other women that can help. um it's really the fact that they're so busy themselves, or they just had a baby, so it's easier for you to kind of just displace them. Then when there's no husband to leave them with, if he's one that's okay to leave them with him, you know, while you complete your duties, a single woman doesn't have that option. So, like I said, Karisha was the blueprint. So I remember I remember that broadcast, and I remember her making that statement, and I remember then settling it in my heart that that was the tone. Like, okay, children come last. And I functioned
Wow.
exactly like that. So I remember that. This is a really good clip.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was combing through a few things, and that struck me because I felt like, not only is it the personal relationship that was kind of more, you guys were it was in the inner circle together, but also the way that she was speaking about it. But my thing is this, because everything you said is absolutely spot on. And I think that the loss, like you said, how did you put it? The self, loss of self, and
Disconnected
right, completely disconnected from yourself and your paternal
completely.
instincts.
Even if
And
I'm
it
hurt.
is unnatural. Yeah. And it is
Yeah.
unnatural. And you said something very powerful too, right? That mother is the highest calling. And this is what is spoken about within this ministry. But the
Mm-hmm.
moment you join and you're a mother, it is the least important thing in this ministry. You know what I mean? The community is way more important than your own family. You know what I mean? So it's like as a single woman. Now, I can't really speak to a married woman because she might have a different look, right? It might look
Mm-hmm.
different. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But for a single woman, mother is the least important thing
Yeah.
calling in this ministry, who claims that it's the highest call. So I think that's very hypocritical and contradictory. It's like, how you going to claim it if you're not going to enforce it, right? As far as her duties being to her children and being sure that they're well cared for. Now, you got anything you need to add to that?
Yeah, I would just say it's just really hard to do. It's just really hard
Mhm.
to be a mother. And so naturally you put it last. Out of all your priorities, you and your children, like your immediate anything personal to you, which is if you're a single woman, it's just you and your babies, that's last. Everything else
Right.
comes first. No matter what. That has to get done. This can wait.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Now, this next segment here, right? We're gonna dive into something that's gonna be personal, right? So the breakdown of your marriage, how things started. Let's talk about your marriage a bit. How did Straitway how did the structure of Straitway influence the breakdown of your marriage, influence your marriage as a whole, right? And
Mhm.
also, of course, your husband as well. Um, a lot of what was the build up when you guys first discovered Straightway? What was he like as a man toward in the beginning, and then what changed, right?
Right.
How did they
Yeah.
influence it?
I to this day I cannot like pinpoint identify the change. But
Mhm.
in the begin or like when it took place, what triggered it, I really don't know. But in the beginning, we thought we had found it. Like I said, I came across Pastor Dowell, but we were in Christianity, and he was being a minister to become a pastor. So we
Right,
were just very close to pastor, first lady, all of that, because he was pretty much being trained up to be the next pastor. And so things have started happening in Christianity or in the church that kind of led us to seek something else. This didn't seem right. And so finding Pastor Dow was really like a breath of fresh air. It really was, for us being
mm,
so young and moldable and really like searching. Um,
right,
it seemed like everything. We were both on board. We were never not agreeing, but for me, I just really wanted to pursue more us meeting these people. Not so much just watching all the videos and learning all the knowledge. Like, I want to meet these people. And that's where he was a little more hesitant, but ultimately we did begin to consistently fellowship. Um, and just over time, I think the ministry definitely molded us in ways that we needed when it comes to discipline or structure, just a view of something different. It was definitely that. And then I think the more knowledge that my ex-husband started to get, he was kind of like, I don't think we need this so much. I don't think we need this so much. But for me, it was very like, no, this is the way. Like, everything they're saying, we need this. We need this. We can't do it another way. And that's what he really wanted to do. And so I don't know if you can hear me. I can't hear anymore. You can still hear me?
I can still hear you. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep,
And
loud and
so
clear.
the ministry definitely was a part of me wanting to leave him. I don't think, had I been a part of Straitway, I wouldn't have left him at that time. Maybe later down the line, but at the
Hmm.
time that I left, that was, I just wanted to be with Straitway. Listen to what I'm saying. Like, I'm speaking very I just wanted to be with Straitway. It wasn't even so much like the Most High is telling me to do this. Like, I just had a want to still be with these people that I thought meant safety. And
Right.
the ministry prompted me to leave my children, the doctrine and the way that things were explained to me when trying to get counsel and wisdom on what to do. And I just want to know what's righteous. I just want to do what's right. And this is what I'm communicating in all these conversations. And it's all, okay, well, the book says they're his children. So, okay, I'll willing to leave them for a time. I did that. It was a lot. Straitway had a lot to do, but I won't say that it was the only reason. I won't say that it was the only, for sure, because without it, of course, I still don't think we would have lasted. Um, but I
Right.
also don't think it would have ended the way it did for us, if that makes sense. I could try to elaborate, but
Right.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, so as far as it lasting, and so some of the things you may have identified, and you're at that time husband, you identify some character flaws, basically, right? And
Yeah.
so, what if you can name, like, I guess a couple of them? What would that be? Character flaws wise.
Um. My assessment of him at that time was, I don't think this is getting better, because holding him up to the men that we were around. I'm gonna be real here with this one, and then there was the financial security was not there, and there was no direction or ambition to change that. That was very difficult for me, because it started to show up in areas that we couldn't avoid, or ignore, when it comes to the health and the pregnancies, and then having to heal and restore your body after the pregnancies, the living situations. There were things that were time was passing. Years were going by, and it's like, we're in this place, but I don't really see the fruit that I think should be there, based off what I am listening to, what I'm seeing, what I'm agreeing with. I don't see that
Right.
in you. I don't think that you're trying to pursue it, and it was like, it could have been handled in a more healthier way, I think. But for me, it was the fact that we didn't have any examples. Like, no one was able to really kind of guide us through it to restore it. It was just kind of like, you know, they just kind of seeing how we play out, and it was like,
Right.
tell me what to do, where to go, like how. And
Yeah.
it wasn't so clear.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So didn't quite match up to the men who you saw in the ministry. He was kind of lacking a bit of ambition, no real vision. And that's what kind of discouraged you or put you off from. And so there's a bit of influence there based on image
Mhm.
coming from not only Pastor Dow, because he really pushes that image right onto the women
Right.
as well. So he pushes the image onto but we know what the target is, right? The target is to I would say his goal is to motivate men, but the way that it's framed, it's also to entice or influence women to look at their man in a certain light, right? Now, the second part, I can only say based on observation. The first part is based on his actions and what he actually says, okay? Him trying to influence men. The second part is my observation that it also encourages and entices women to look at their man in a certain way, and maybe lack a desire for him, like as you stated. That's what impact or effect that it had on you
Right.
in your marriage. So and you don't have to add to that. You don't listen. That's my observation. So,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to have you unless you want to speak to it. You don't have to. But yeah, that's my observation. Either way. And so with that being said, were you ever encouraged or ever spiritually manipulated to prioritize the ministry over your marriage at any point?
um I would say, yeah, that's literally what I did. I feared losing my
Mhm.
salvation, so no man, woman, child, nobody would get in the way of that. So choosing the ministry over my household, I did that twice, absolutely. And I it was painful, but um it was like I was in agreement with it, nothing
Right.
in me triggered or went off that I shouldn't have done that. It was just, this is the way, and that's
Right.
what I
Yeah.
did.
Absolutely. And so any encouragement, any from leadership or anybody within the ministry to encourage you to I believe cultivate your space, your marriage, right? And getting away from, I guess, the influence from the ministry and morally sticking to your husband, because of course the lack of motivation that came from him, right?
Mhm.
Regardless, right? You guys chose each other. And so
Yeah.
the lack of motivation, did they ever like try to encourage you to say, you know what, chase conversation, or stick over there, stay with him, fight it out? Like, how encouraged were you in that space to stay with him?
Wow, I really have to try to think. Um, of course, the scriptures were given. I feel like the leadership is very when you seek them for counsel, and depending on the severity of the matters, they're very wise with their words, out of, I think, just learning lessons from past experiences or situations. So I always could tell that they were being very tactful and slow to speak and very choice with their words whenever instructing me in this. But I think
Hmm.
listening deep enough, I could still kind of hear the suggestions that they were making, and that desire in me to please them, because at when it had gotten to this point, my ex-husband was already kind of, he had already taken his stance and wasn't fellowshipping, so there weren't really any expectations out of him. It was more so like I was allowed to go and I was allowed to still talk to people, He didn't cut off communication, and neither did Straitway. Even though the leader that was over me at that time, he was told by another leader to not deal with me, and just leave that situation alone, leave them alone, don't mess with all that. But the leader that was there and actually had eyes on me in the situation a little bit more closely, he didn't listen to that. He actually vouched for me and was like, I'm not gonna do that. This sister wants to fellowship. She's striving. Why would I shut up my ears to her, basically?
Mhm.
So I would speak with him, and I would speak to him through his wife, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. She would kind of be the middleman at times to make it look better. But essentially she would just kind of be relaying to me what he had to say. But of course the scripture was given, and this is where, like, it was never clearly explained to me why, like, when Dowell talks about the woman can't leave the man, and even when the master is unruly to still obey and things like that, I was very conflicted on, okay, how is it okay for me to leave? Like, I don't
Right.
understand. I don't see any clear scriptures explaining that out. And I never really got peace in the answers that I got from the men that, I asked them to. But
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like there's so much because I've never really talked about it
Mm.
openly. And
Right.
it was so long ago now. My
Yeah.
mind at that time, I know it was in like a panic. So I know that I was very vulnerable because that was probably the first low point. The first low point that I had gotten to in the ministry. So I was very vulnerable. And yeah, I was still allowed to fellowship. I was still allowed to visit. I was on Marco Polos and given direction, but it was never really like, I think you should do this. It was always made as, this is a suggestion. This is what I would do. And that just kind of became clear to me that even though it's coming off as a suggestion, I probably should be doing what they're advising me to do. And so it was a
Right.
lot of
Because
both
it's
sides.
submit and obey those who have the rule over you, right?
Right. And which I was doing. So that's where I think it became like kind of unclear because I was already very much in my role. I had fully embraced it regardless of the environment that we were in, and I'm like, I'm doing these things and this is happening. So it's like then you come into play like, oh, grounds for divorce and things like that. And if I can't even remember the laws that I was told that made it okay for me to leave when I finally decided to do so. But there were scriptures used to support it, definitely. Because like I said, I would really try to find out, like, I don't understand how I can do this and still be married to someone else and not be causing him to commit adultery, like all the things based off the doctrine that Dowell teaches. So
Right.
yeah, I think just even in that, it was chaos. There was no clear, it was all over the place. It was all over the place.
No clear answer. And
No clear
it.
angle.
Okay. Okay. I see. Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So which is a thing because they should be able to, of course, Yah's not the author of confusion, and they should be able to direct you appropriately
Mhm.
in that situation, right?
Right.
And at the time you were younger, you were like what, around in your 20s.
I was in my
um
early 20s, 20, 25, maybe
right,
23, some
absolutely,
20.
absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely, we were both very young.
Right, absolutely. And so, of course, that plays factors as well because you see this situation here, and you're like, okay, I see a level of security and safety for me and for my children, and this is
Mhm.
something that I'm lacking in my current marriage, right? Okay,
Right.
so um, absolutely. So, was leadership directly involved in your relationship decision, right? Your relationship decision or marital departure? Was they were there ever like or marital dispute? Were they directly involved in your separation from your husband?
Directly, I'm gonna say no. They were not directly involved. They were indirectly involved for sure. But I won't say that. I take full accountability that nobody held a gun to my head. Nobody was there with me saying she's coming with us. It was I was willing. I made that choice and I stood on it, like I said, because I thought that was what I was supposed to do. So nobody had to directly even influence me because my mind was so for the vision.
Right. Yeah, it was for the vision, of course, community and of the, and so upon like I guess the decision that you made to leave them, um, what was the encouragement like? Were they like encouraging you to come on, like to make the decision, to finalize the decision on the divorce? How was that really panning out? Like would they like saying, hey, this is a terrible mistake, you're not making, you know what I mean? Like what position did they take in your decision?
It was very supportive of my decision. No one disagreed at all with the choice I made. Again, because where my ex-husband was at that time, and it had really just kind of got worse. He started
Mhm.
speaking out, and so then the retaliation came in. So there was
Uh,
support on my end because it's like this woman wants to stay. This man is doing and saying all this stuff, but she wants to be here. So there was a lot of support. Like I said, I was always allowed to fellowship. We stayed extended stays at different locations. We were supported. I have not had a job since I was 18, so we were pretty much taken care of. Uh, I won't
mhm.
say, well, as soon as it happened, we had help, and then just that help changed throughout the years. But yeah, it was always there. It was always there. 100% supportive. Nobody was saying otherwise. Not to
Wow. So
me
they
personally that I know of.
Wow, absolutely. So they were 100% supportive of a decision that was biblically not supported for you to make. And they didn't sway you away from it or try to educate you more on scripturally, hey, this might be a mistake. They just was like in full support and having you separate.
Well, I
Am
I
I
will say so again. Yes.
mhm,
What did you say? Biblically,
supported?
even though it wasn't biblically supported. The only person that told me that it was not supported was Kabir. I had called
Okay.
him for something completely different concerning the divorce, but just him inquiring to know more, I ended up telling him more, and he got out the book and then starts giving me all the scriptures and all the verses as to why I shouldn't do that. And this was time had passed. I think
Right.
we've been separated for about a year and a half. It had been some time because I didn't even have my daughters at this time. They were with him because he wanted to keep them. So I did not
Mm.
fight that, they were his. And
Right.
so I let him have his seed, um, his daughters, but Kabir, the phone call with Kabir, he was the one that told me, and he just went through every single scripture, every single verse, and laid it all out. And his phone call made me go back to my husband, my ex-husband. It's like the way he said it, I was
Right.
like, oh shit,
Yeah.
like I need to go back.
Conviction.
And so when I did
Right.
that, the people that were supportive, the men and the leaders that were supportive of me dropped their support. It diminished. They were saying that,
Really?
you do this, you get pregnant, you have another baby with him. We're not, because you become even more of a burden. They were like, it,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So that scared me, but in my mind, the prayers and at that time where, because I'm without my daughters and I haven't talked to them. And when I would see them, I could see a decline. I could see the lack of me not being there. And it became hard to resist that. And so I went with the mindset of, okay, I'm gonna give this all I got again. I'm gonna be an Abigail. I'm gonna put him to the test. I'm gonna put the Most High to the test and really see if this is not meant to be. Then me and my daughters will leave out of here to go and serve you. And that's
Mhm.
how I functioned. And eventually, that is what happened. But I did go back to him, and it was not supported. Um,
Wow.
it just wasn't. I'm trying to think because there was a period where I was not even fellowshipping with them, and I don't want to misspeak and get it wrong as far as to like how that really came about, because that it was a very crazy time. I had just given birth as well, or I was pregnant. I think I was pregnant during this time. I hadn't given birth yet. Hold on, I'm trying to
Mhm.
get the story straight. I think I did give birth.
Right.
I did give birth.
All right.
Um,
Take your
because
time.
I'm trying to remember because I left, then I went back,
Mhm.
and we ended up having to leave again. And this time I did get to leave with my daughter. So I get the story mixed up because it was so long ago, and there was just
There's
it
a
was a
lot going
lot.
on.
It was a
Yeah.
lot. It was a lot for a long time.
Right. Yeah. I like to say shout out to my to brother Rodney Fury. Shout out to you. Bless y'all. Bless y'all for sharing. Absolutely. You got plenty of support, sister. And it's just the matter of getting to the source of the truth. And it's never an easy task to unpack your private life for people, right? For people to be
Yeah.
encouraged or motivated, and also inspired. You know what I'm saying? But it's just so necessary a lot of times. So I definitely commend you for doing what you're doing currently as well. So, all right, and so of course they dropped their support. You're effectively back where at the time where you should be. And in regards to Kabir, of course, shout out to Kabir for making a decision that was the right decision for once. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't doing the Mother Carol in the back situation. He actually gave you a word of advice that brought you to a point to where you should be, and corrected a lot of the wrongs that a lot of the leadership that you were under were doing. But they pulled their support of his decision, right? To do that, which honestly, that is unethical, right? That's not biblical. They should continue to support you in what decision you've made, regardless, you know what I mean, of what was you got enough, you've done enough to actually be a bystander and adding support when you're making the decision to leave. Well, you should also show up when, you know what I mean, like when you're making the decision to go back, they should also still show up for you as well. So just to be supportive as a brother. All right, so which is interesting. And so they were really just trying to get you mostly to leave. And now that was their goal. That's why they pulled the support. They wanted to influence you to separate, right? All
I
right.
wouldn't
So
say that. I honestly, I
mhm.
don't want to say that because I don't know. I think again, just coming
Okay.
from them, just not having the understanding to deal with the situation, and then trying to use the book on top of it. I
Okay.
honestly, I do believe they did the best they could, and I do think that um he did his best. I think that the leader at that time really did do his best. I don't think that I mean
Right.
I don't know, but I didn't really discern like
All
another
right, sir.
agenda, and even looking back on it, I
Hmm.
think he just I don't know. He just didn't know what he was doing. He just didn't
You might
know.
have he might have misjudged it basically, but he still was doing the best he could to be supportive as possible.
I will say
Okay.
that, yeah, but it was clear that there was a verbal like they were not, they were not feeling that decision. That was very clearly made. They made that known for sure.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. Now, Now, we pretty much covered like for as far as them scripturally justifying, right?
Hmm.
Justifying a separation or controlling the families, scripturally justifying the second time, right? So when you went back based on the conversation you had with Kabir. You guys gave it another shot. Was that around the time you may have gotten pregnant again, or what transpired and led
I
you
had
up
already
to?
had her. I already had
Okay.
my daughter. We were having the
Hmm.
issues during the pregnancy, and the first time I left, it was like the day after purification. I left. Well, I left meaning, yeah, I went on, he stayed where he was at. Then I ended up coming back. So I never left. I already had all my daughters both times when we
Okay.
left. So yeah.
Okay. All right. And so after you had your daughters, before you approached the second time leaving, what were you feeling? Like, what was going on during that time? If you can recall, like, what was going on during that time? What were you feeling? Were you going through some financial hardships? Was it like, was it burdensome? What was going on during that time prior to your second time of actually leaving with yourself and your daughters actually leaving them?
Yeah, so the first time I left, I went to my grandma's.
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember. The first time I left, yeah, I just had my mom come get me, my mom and my brother. Because we calmly talked about it. I told him like I was honorable. I honored him and I really tried to do it the right way. So we sat down and I literally told him what I was about to do. And I was like,
Right.
I have a feeling I know what you're gonna do, but I need you to tell me, like, can I pack my daughter's clothes or are you gonna want to keep them? Because they are not going to be pawns to make me stay. I've made my decision. I just need to know, am I getting their stuff too or not? And I he let me take our youngest because like I said, I had just got out of purification, so I'm still nursing her and everything. I think he tried to keep her, but she wouldn't stop crying, so ultimately he ended
Right.
up changing. It was just like, I think he was like wean her at 2 and then she's mine as well. But I had to leave my oldest two, my two older ones, and it was hard. That was the hardest thing I had ever done at that time. I didn't
Right.
understand it, but I just felt like this is the way, this is what I need to do. Um, the Most High is gonna take care of it. I'm doing the right thing, so there's no reason for me to be scared or afraid or all these uncomfortable things that I'm feeling. Is just like I just told myself like the Most High is gonna deal with it. And that's pretty much what it was every day. It was very difficult because it's very unnatural for me, and that's something I never expected to happen. And so I missed my daughters a lot, and it's like I couldn't
Right.
do anything without thinking about them. And
Mm.
over time, it got better, and I had fellowship because I didn't have a car. I didn't have anything. I was just at my grandma's house with the baby. And there was a family that lived like down the street that just so happened to fellowship too. So began
Mm.
hanging out with them and whatnot. Then I started to see the girls every now and then, and we would all hang out, and things like that. But on the inside, it was very difficult. I didn't show it to anyone. I would
Mhm.
try to reach out to, women that I thought I could draw strength from throughout that time. And they would say things, just the very general, pray, read, the advice that they gave. And, but it was hard. That was hard. It was really hard. And that's why I went back. I couldn't keep doing it. I couldn't do it.
Right. Wow, absolutely. Now, one thing that I really would like to know for sure, I'm pretty sure everybody else would like to know, based on a question, what was his reason to stop fellowshipping with Straitway?
That's a
Why
good
was
question
such a
because
change of heart?
yeah, he saw a lot of the things. He was ahead of the curve. Honestly, I look back and it's like he wasn't wrong. A lot of the things that he saw, he was not wrong. It's just the delivery and the I think intent behind it. It would have resonated better, I think, if his life was a little bit more together. But it was the typical things from, I think, men that are wanting to be leaders of their home. He didn't want me listening to other men and respecting them more. He didn't feel the
Right.
need for all these other leaders to, be so involved in our life. Um, he was doing other things too that just didn't align. It was really a lot of doctrinal disagreements. Just a lot of things that he began to disagree with. And I'll just leave it at that. He just didn't agree. He didn't
Right.
agree. He wanted
So he
to.
fell
He
out.
It was too oppressive to him. He didn't want to be so confined, and he didn't see the
Right.
fruit.
Right. Okay. I see. And control and things like that. This stuff was in. Okay. Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And, I'm assuming that, of course, your second departure, it was based on basically the same thing, like just the lack of motivation to want to achieve greater, right? To do more for the family, to put you guys in a better position.
Right.
So,
It kind of it got worse. I came back.
okay.
And you know how it goes. Things got better for a time, but then he kind of revealed himself, and it just got
Mhm.
even worse. Like, things got crazier to where now, like I said, it was dangerous for us to stay there. So the need was like,
Right.
I honestly, I didn't really care. I wasn't trying to have all the understanding that time, because I did that the first
Mhm.
time, trying to really see the scripture and do it. But in this time, it was more so like, I'm taking them and we're going, because I'm not gonna leave them here in this either. I tried it and it's not working. So we're all leaving this time.
Mhm.
And that was pretty much what it was. And that time I didn't tell him I left. He went to work, and I had a U-Haul, and my mom and my brother helped me, and we got all our stuff, and I left. I took me and the girls, and we went somewhere. He didn't know where I was at. I blocked him and had cut off contact for years, and that was how I left the second time.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, have you had any recent reconnection with him? How would you say your relationship is with him now?
Our relationship is in a much healthier space. We have both done a
Great.
lot of maturing since then. Um, have both taken a lot of accountability in the areas where we were both wrong. A lot of finger pointing was happening in our youth, or when we were younger, and now it's a lot of, one at you but three back at me. So
Right. Yeah.
the conversation is way different, and the intent is completely different. We both understand that this is not something for us, but for them, that's all that matters. Them having dad and mom, and seeing them be um co-parenting from a healthy space. But
Mhm.
right when we started to kind of work things out, he ended up getting incarcerated. So he's doing some time, and he'll be in there for a while. But even through all that, we're still able
Right.
to communicate for the girls. He's still able to speak to them and do what he can from afar. So we're in a much better
Right.
place.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. It's never a thing you ever want to see happen,
Definitely.
especially to someone who's within the same culture, has the same skin tone as you, same.
Right.
So yeah. Okay. So yeah, I know that one right there. That was the rocky segment. The tough
Yeah, it
part,
wasn't so bad.
understanding that.
That wasn't so bad.
Yeah, you handled it well. You did really well, handled it really well, and it seems like you in a space of healing when it comes to are came really far in a healing space when it comes to you and your ex-husband and you guys' marriage and the deterioration of that, right? because you're able to speak about it, and it's not as difficult, like you said, right? So
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
great thing. That's a great thing, because if you start crying, I'm like, okay, yeah, a little bit of deliverance. You got to focus on. Okay, yeah,
Commercial break.
it's still some hurting. Yeah, commercial break. Let me go ahead and hit the, but yeah, you handled that well, right? And honestly, I believe you brought a lot of great insight, because I really appreciate the honesty and the way that things took place and transpired. Honestly, it's like there was no stones that were left uncovered there. Like I have a thorough, and I'm pretty sure the audience has a thorough understanding on how things took place. And accountability just goes for those who need to be held accountable, because they'll still do the same thing without acting appropriately in certain situations. So but yeah, so my thing is this, right? The psychological control of a religious cult, right? And of course the religious guilt behind that, right? So did you ever feel like you were being gaslit at any point, right? Were you let's see, were you questioning like your own reality at some point, as to where you felt like they were really adding a little salt, that was gaslighting you in situations?
Yeah, that's a very easy answer. Yes, yes. Everywhere I went,
Mhm.
there was gaslighting, and I didn't identify that for years, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. Right. And so in that, was it like morally shoved off on you, like, hey, gaslit into deliverance, or gaslit into thinking that you need to do your own soul searching? Was it being flipped on you? Like when you noticed something and you addressed it, was it flipped back on you to reflect on self?
Precisely. Yes. That was a lot
Mm.
of mainly what I encountered. I think that's part of the self-abandonment, but it would be so many times. And this really happened in one place in particular, but again, it was everywhere I went. Where
Right.
the leader has this platform where he's speaking, and everybody is listening, or people are there, and I see how they use that seat or that time to. This is where you invoke the fear. This is where it's like you just airing out anything that is on your heart, and it just comes off as wisdom or planning. It's like it's weaved in with the word or whatever it is you're talking about, but somewhere there's a turn where it's like you talking about somebody specifically here. And so that's what I would hear a lot, is comments and situations, and then I would go to this particular leader asking, like, what am I doing? Like, are you talking about me? I'm hearing what you're saying, and it doesn't apply to anybody else here. Like, are we good? What is going on?
Wow.
And it's just
Right.
like, no, what, I don't know why you would say that. You're fine. Like, if
Mm.
usually if somebody is um feeling like it's them, that's something you need to work on. It's not always about you, or think just crazy stuff where it's
Right.
like, I know you're talking about me. And so that happened a lot. And you just begin to take it like whatever. Then it's like, okay, maybe they're not talking about me, they're talking about somebody else. But it's like, no, it's you, because how you treat me, how you interact with me, how you interact with my children, things like that. So that's the type of gaslit that I experience very frequently. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So my thing is this, right? How did the teachings, how did the teaching affect the way that you thought about loyalty, submission, and righteousness?
Um, Eventually doing the right thing becomes betraying yourself, your family. When I mean doing the right thing, like your loyalty and just being
Mhm.
pleasing to them. Questioning your leaders becomes equivalent to questioning the most high. So,
Wow.
that's not loyalty. And
Wait a
when you
minute.
really break
So
down what,
questioning your leaders is equivalent to questioning the Most High himself.
yeah,
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. All
I
right, go
felt
ahead.
that plenty of times. There were times where, I'm getting counsel or advice that doesn't line
Mm,
up with me, but I'm like, no, they are, in direct communication with the Father. How can this not be true? It's like, so then it drives more of the loyalty in you, like, I just need to serve. That's how it was for me. I just really felt a pressure to um please them. And I
right.
will say that, just again, highlighting on loyalty, it's
Yeah.
not always a good thing. It's not always good to be loyal. I'm gonna take a turn here and say, especially in Black spiritual communities, because it is absolutely weaponized. It's demanded as proof of your faith, essentially. And then this becomes blinding, because you'll stay in harm's way because your loyalty to this man. You'll stay in a place that you shouldn't be. You'll excuse abuse and silence the truth, all behind loyalty. So,
Mm, wow.
for generations, there has been betrayal and, like, this loss of our identity. So coming into something where, like, we're on top, or I know who I am, I'm an Israelite, I'm a Black Israelite. It's like this loyalty feels like a protection or a safety. Um, but the manipulative leadership weaponize that, and then it becomes another form of captivity. Um,
Mm, wow.
there's a term, emotional plantation politics. Okay, and so this means that you're not physically enslaved with chains, but it's the doctrine that demands you to sacrifice. You give up your voice, your health, your family, and all these things. And that's exactly what you're taught. That's the kind of teaching that takes place, and I don't see where the Most High called us to be loyal. If you're in a system where your freedom makes someone mad, that you were never loyal to the truth. That's the way I see it. You being loyal to control. So that's the teachers that they taught. You're loyal to control. You love
Right.
it. You think it's safety.
Mm, wow. That's profound, honestly. And I got another clip that I really, and after on the heels of what you just said, I want to analyze this particular clip as well and what's being said here, right? And then we're going to go ahead and you got to unpack this for us. You understand what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and
Okay.
play this clip and see what she has to say in regards to a lot of what you just got done speaking on. Let's go.
Mm.
That I remember that in Houston when I came to Houston and Elder Mitchell had to love on me and realize, okay, she's come from the world, but I'm gonna love on her and I'm gonna help her to grow.
And love that you're talking about doesn't feel anything in comparison to The Notebook, which used to be my favorite movie, right?
Right.
Or the romantic Love Comes Softly series.
No.
So when you say Elder Mitch had to love on me, it was, you're gonna sell your car.
Yeah, you're gonna sell your car.
You're done nursing.
You're done.
So there wasn't any like fluff,
Oh
right?
no, there was no fuss. He didn't cuddle me at all. Like, Karisha, I'm gonna love you, but you're wrong. Karisha, you're gonna have to learn how to grow in this area. I'm like, bro, how do I grow in this area? Oh, I don't like your cooking. When you, I have to share this with you. And this is amazing. I thought I knew how to cook, but Elder Mitchell, he loved me enough. He showed me charity. I don't like the way you cook. Why don't? But he gave me a solution. How about you turn on some music? How about you pray before you cook?
What were you? What was the deal? Were you stiff? Was it burnt? What happened to you?
It was burnt.
It was burnt.
It was over salted.
You were fearful.
I was fearful. I was fearful and I was nervous.
A little fear in there, a little
Yes,
rejection.
a little rejection, a little envy, a little jealousy, and it came out in the food. And he let me know. Sister Erica let me know, and I was like, okay, well, they gave me a solution, and I still use that today. When I cook, I always have some type of music going. Before I cook, I pray. And before I left Kentucky, Elder Mitchell had a favorite dish that that he loved, that he really enjoyed me cooking. And he actually said, I like the way she cooks now. Coming
Right,
from
because we're laughing again, but it wasn't funny, was it? When you was
No.
adding a little fear
When I was
and a
in
little
fear,
temperature too hot,
yeah,
it wasn't funny.
it
You
wasn't.
didn't laugh, did you?
No, I cried.
Yeah, exactly.
I cried. I
Yes.
was like, he just told me that he didn't like my cooking.
That's strike three,
Yeah.
honestly. From car to breastfeeding to cooking, Elder Mitch has a bad rap now. Humor.
He had a bad rep at first. In my mind, I even told her, I said, every time you tell me something, there's a kick.
Okay.
I just, he's like, you got to work on it.
So, I wonder, did I bring it a little too early? Yeah, because I know he will, of course, instructed her to stop breastfeeding at her 2-year-old. Stop breastfeeding.
Witness.
He also stated that she needed to sell her car and get rid of the vehicle because, of course, she had to keep fixing it, repairing it, things like that. And then leading into the cooking, and then the what is your take on this? Because I'm gonna give you a bit of my opinion here. In this whole scenario, when it comes to the breastfeeding thing, I believe that, if you're not like an expert in that area or department, you shouldn't be instructing, that. And it seemed like he wanted her to be a little bit more free to take on more tasks or duties, responsibilities without being interrupted. So, it wasn't like a logical choice based on the health of the child. It was more like, hey, I want you to be doing this A, B, and C. I want this, this, and this from you, and more demanding than it was actually something that would be beneficial to her and baby, her and child. You know what I'm saying? And knowing Mitchell, okay, understanding, I know this guy, his persona, his personality is pretty cut and dry, in my opinion. Can he be a bit rugged and cold? Yeah, I can definitely say he is, but I also wouldn't depict him to be somebody who's very brave either. So, while he's talking to her like this, he wouldn't necessarily come at a man in a way as to where he's trying to, you know what I mean? Like, maybe somebody who he knows he can do it with, right? But not necessarily doing it in the way that he kind of handling her. So my thing is this, right? What is your thoughts on all of this? When you just spoke about this and loyalty and things of that nature, what do you think about her and the way that she just what she just stated?
Again, I'm gonna say, like, this is this is a great clip, because this I love Karisha. I'm gonna say she's like the model woman for single women. To this is the example. This is the example. Everything Karisha embodies is be this, and you'll do well. And so this Black woman, y'all, this is she's narrating to us how she was trained to associate love with harsh criticism and control. And this is literally religious trauma and emotional conditioning. And you just see how it settles in. Like, we really do wear it with a badge of honor. Like, she's speaking about being loved on, but then goes into breaking down what that love looks like. Being told to sell your car, being told you wrong,
Right.
not gently either. And then your nurturing abilities to cook get critiqued and spiritualized. Burning food
Right.
is not just I burn food. It now becomes I'm fearful, I'm afraid, I'm dealing with rejection.
Rejected.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
that's gaslighting, literally, in doctrine, because the message becomes you're broken, you don't have nothing, you need help. But if you submit to correction, even in the form of humiliation, you may become lovable, and you hold
Mm-mm.
on to that and you take it and you run with it. I see how she internalized the idea that harshness equals care. Um, Being critiqued without a softness, that means love. And that's so dangerous because there's no balance. If that's the only way that this man is interacting with her, it's
Yeah.
almost like you feel bad for wanting something softer,
Right.
and he's not being soft with her. He's being, I gotta fix you, I gotta work on you, I gotta mold you and your children. It's not, oh, you're my wife, I have to build you up and wash you with the word. You are not met with that kind of softness. Um,
Right.
and so even when she says like I still do this to this day, I use these methods today, it just shows you how deep the programming goes.
Right. How
So
deep that cut.
that's a great clip. That's a great clip. I had an experience myself where my maternal rights were stripped from me. Just like you said, there was no benefit at all for that to have
Mm,
happened.
yeah.
I want to say I remember. I remember it happening. I can't fully remember the reasons that he gave. Um, so I don't want to speak on it, but just speaking to that, the benefit of the mother and the child is that really and truly being considered. Um, I was in a situation as well as a single mother where I was not allowed to nourish my children. I was not allowed to feed them the foods that I wanted to feed them, and I've had to watch them all suffer severely. Until I spoke out to the right person, because it
Right.
was a leader that uh I guess enforced this, and he was
Mm,
following the advice of another leader higher than him. And
okay.
so
And so
me knowing this
what leader?
information, the way they set it up, we already talked to elder so and so this is what's going to happen. So in my mind, I don't have any questions. Already you take away my fight, my question, and like, okay, what is it? And to not be able to make their food, having to take pictures of the food, just things that are uncalled for. And I just took it until a situation happened where it started to manifest on them. One of my
Right.
daughters was suffering with something physically because of it, and that's when I had enough. So I went to another leader who then stepped in and pretty much put a stop to all of that. But I still endured it for enough time, for it to show up, because again, I'm thinking I just need to obey, and they have all the
Right.
scriptures, all the reasons why this is why we're going to do this. So I don't have anything to say, anything in me that I'm feeling, I need to get deliverance for. It's not right. It's wrong. You should be
Mm,
grateful. You
wow.
should take this, and it's like that's the complete opposite of being a mom and what it means. And it took another leader to pull me back into that. So
Hmm. And
yeah,
so would
exactly.
you?
That's a good clip.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so would you say that that made you or left you feeling like that you knew what the right decision was as a mother for your child, and these leaders are telling you, hey, something totally contrary to what would be the right decision to make for your child, and you feel like, no, I know that I'm doing the right thing by doing this and making this choice for my child.
Yeah.
You had to go to another leader who confirmed you during that time. Of course, for sure it's a burning thing in you, like, yo, what's going on? Like, these guys are trying to stop me from doing something that I know that the spirit is leading me to do. And then a third leader had to come and shut it all down and actually get you to a place where you can fulfill that for the child. This is
Right.
something that really would be a problem, because why should you have to go through so many channels in order to do something for your child, for the child's health and benefit? Now the
And not
child,
even that, I will
right?
also add, as we touched on last live that
Mhm.
it's ultimately them that suffer. Her
Yeah.
baby being took off,
Wow.
being weaned soon, I'm sure there was a crying, and there was some kind of communication there of rejection from that. And then, but
Right.
you could just write it off as, oh, just pray over her and bind those spirits and things like that, to again dismiss what actually should be talked about here. And that's, how is that a benefit? What is the focus? If not the child, then what? And so, same in my situation, I knew that they were suffering, and I had to
Wow.
sit and watch that and endure that. And it, like, me didn't even matter. It's like, man, they don't deserve this. None of these children, they did not ask to join this ministry. They did not ask to be here. None of it. They didn't ask for us as parents, but they are the ones that suffer the most because of what we're putting ourselves in, what we're allowing to us, the lack of the work we're doing, ultimately it's them that suffer. And it's
Wow.
very sad because it can be avoided every single time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I want to play this a bit as well because it ties everything that you just said in. And, let me just go ahead and play it. So,
She was in Texas with the Texas Saints. She was in Kentucky. Now she's in Wisconsin. So she's bounced around with the Saints, served the Saints, and even raised her children with the Saints. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Karisha, say hi, introduce yourself. Anything you want to say?
Shalom, bless you, saints. I want to first of all give praise and honor to the Most High Yah, because without him and without his men, without Israel as a tribe, I would not be here today. And without his Holy Spirit, I would not be here today. So I just give all praise and honor to my master, who is up above and who is the keeper of souls. Shalom.
Hallelujah. Thank you so much.
Hallelujah.
So how young were your children when you came to the faith? Heard your testimony, the testimony of Elder Mitch and some of the saints, which puts pressure on you because you are known for submitting yourself to your leaders.
Yeah.
And that's commendable. I commend Yah and you for that. So now we're going to talk about how your children grew up, okay? How you did a study before you had an invite to a community. Before you even knew if you would have an opportunity to live in a community. You hear it, community, right?
Right.
But before that, you did a study. Tell me about.
By the Holy Spirit, it was literally put on me to study submission. That still quiet voice, if you really listen to it, it's there. And I was just sitting and it's just submission. I'm like, what is submission? What does it mean to be submissive, or to submit to somebody's mission? As pastor came out with the teaching around that time. And I went ahead and I did the study, and I found out that really it's not about your will. It's about laying your will down to go ahead and submit to somebody else's mission. And you have to be you just have to die. You just have to die. Surrender yourself and do whatever is needed to be done to get that mission completed, whether big or small.
It's like when you want to say no, it's yes.
Yes.
When you want to say yes, it's no.
Yes.
Like really, it sounds almost mechanical and easy when we talk about it, but it wasn't easy to produce, right?
No, it wasn't
and
at all.
We wouldn't know that about you, but you did a study. And then what?
About 2 years later, I think about 2016, I came to Straitway for the first time in 2015. And then all of a sudden, it was laid on the heart of Pastor and Elder Mitch, Brother Mitch at the time, hey, let's bring her on community. I was like, what? I didn't know anything about this.
Which is what you were really studying about, right?
Exactly.
You want to be with the people.
Yes.
Okay, so it's all evolving.
Yes. Yeah. And so got to Houston, and I'm going to go back to the submission study. I didn't just only learn about submission to the men. I learned about submission to the women as well. You don't just submit you submit to everyone as the whole. You can't have one without the other. So when I got to Houston, Elder Mitchell was like, hey, this is what it is. This is where you're going to be. And we're going to help you with the children. And this is you just have to obey. You just have to listen.
How old were they?
They were, DeAndre was about 3. Ayana was about 2.5.
Okay, so 3 and 2.5.
3 and 2.5.
And another.
All right. So now, as we're listening to this, right, And she's saying not only submission to the men, but also the women as a whole. My thoughts in my mind says she's thinking this way based on being a single woman with children, and that she has to expend herself to everyone because she doesn't have a covering to serve at that time. And not only that, she even made mention that Mitchell told her, like, all you have to do is obey, right? All you have to do is obey, which is
That's
something that is
simple.
right. Right. And I know that in the prior interview, you said that the currency is submission. That is
Mm-hmm.
the currency. That is your currency in this ministry. Is the level of obedience and submission that you can offer. And so that kind of puts a lot of people in a dangerous position who is just kind of following blindly, not really questioning anything, but just submitting themselves entirely, right? Without saying, like, hey, is this the right thing to submit to? What sayeth you about this?
Man, I'm just gonna keep saying this video shares a lot. And it's just so
Mhm.
interesting looking at it now because again, when you're in there, your mind is so thinking another way. Like literally everything she's saying it's accurate. That is exactly how you think. That is exactly how I thought. That is exactly how I raised my children. Like she that describes it. So I would love to rewatch that now from a mind that has been um not under that influence. But I can't ignore the way women, especially black women, continue to be like the most spiritually burdened. And it's probably will take a shift with me saying this, but like it's just this idea that your suffering is a crown. Your trials and your tests and just how much you can deny and refuse and just keep going and fighting, that is your crown, your badge of honor.
Wow.
I witnessed, I observed, this is my opinion from what I saw, what I experienced. For a black woman, I think you were the most oppressed in that ministry. You
Wow.
deal with the most erasure. And that means your self-abandonment. Like talking about expectations,
Right.
you better not be seen bucking up to your husband. Um, you have to be perfect. You really do. And
Mhm.
because of that, it's like these things are okay and justified by the Latino women. They're okay with the white women. They get a pass for this kind of behavior. But if you're a black woman, you have to be perfect. You are
Right.
the standard bearer. So you're expected to show up and you're given a very small margin for error. And it's an unseen pressure that is there. And I think it's also generational, but it's there and you carry it. The other women can cry, they can break, they can ask questions, they can have their attitudes, and it's okay. And so what
Right.
she's saying is like
Mm.
this is the exact reason why liberation for someone like me, a black woman, starts with unlearning the need to carry and uphold a system that was never built for you or your children to thrive.
Wow.
That that's all I have to say on that one. That's a good video. It's very sad
Wow.
because she's telling
Yeah, it
exactly the
is.
truth.
And so my thing is this, right? Before, because that's going to be the last clips that we have for this particular video. If you can speak to Sister Karisha now, you know, what would you say to her in regards to the position that she's currently in? You know, we know that she's married to Kabir Baja Miller, which he has said some very, I would say, hurtful things, you know, about her publicly. You know, and this is supposed to be his wife. What message would you give her you know, and what would you tell her? Because she is currently where you were. The mindset that she's speaking about right now is currently where you were. That was the mindset that you were lockstep with, agreement with. Now that you've woken up, the scales were removed, and you saw the level of hypocrisy coming from the leaders. And what would you tell her now? She's so sold out in this video here. And you know,
Yeah.
what would you say?
Yeah. I The same thing I would say to Karisha, I would say to any and every woman that's still there. Honestly, I'm hesitant to say it because I'm hesitant to say it because I already know. Like you said, there is that they just sold out. So I know how gone your mind is, and there is not really much that I can say. I know that they're trained to discredit a woman like me. So I feel very sorry for them. I feel very sorry for their families. Um, but I hope that seeing me and hearing me speak really reaches deep down, like into the depths of their soul, into the parts of them that they haven't had the chance to erase yet. The parts of them that know that that isn't freedom, even if they won't say it. um, I'll just say that you're not crazy and you're not wrong for wanting more. We are remarkable, brilliant minds, very powerful. And I think that's why I'm gonna say again, especially a Black woman, I think that's why there's such an agenda to silence you. So you're not crazy.
Wow.
And your mind wants to build, and your children deserve the freedom that you keep postponing. They deserve it now, and you already know these things, but I understand. I really do get it. So yeah, that's what I would say to her and to any woman still there.
Absolutely. Okay. Hallelujah. Now, okay, so and so we got a bit more here, right? My thing is this with this next segment here. Your family, the family toll. How did the experience affect your children or your relationship with your family outside of the ministry, like your immediate family?
Well, for my children, the effects are definitely multi-layered. Uh,
Hmm.
because essentially that's all each and every one of them knew until we left. But in that, they went without their mom for a period of time. They went without their dad, and they are currently without their dad. Moved around a lot. They never really had a space of their own, and neither did I. So because of that, the thinking was very small and limited. Um, no, you really don't have any identity. So
Hmm.
they were hindered from experiencing things that they never even knew, that they were missing out on. And not just like, oh, going to the movies for the first time or going to a water park, but
Right.
they've never gotten a chance to have like the whole me, the whole their
Mm.
dad, just only versions filtered through the fear from, the space that I was taking in information from, assessing my environment. That's probably the biggest thing, an effect on them. And then of course not having a relationship with close family members that love them and could have really been able to give them core memories and relationships and wisdom, and things like that, because you do make that
Right.
separation. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. And so now with your family, right? Were like family members like were they labeled as like enemies? Like did you have any like a natural family who was labeled as enemies for just simply disagreeing with the position of Straitway or shunned or whatever it may be?
Yes, that, I think that part of the
Hmm.
programming starts pretty early on once you get there. But yeah, it's you're taught, and then you teach your children. I was taught, and I taught my children, that anybody that is not Israel, anybody that does not um say Yah, just all these extreme things, that they are wicked, they're heathens, they are not like us, they are dangerous, they're unstable, just fear, fear, fear,
Wow.
like nothing.
Mm.
It's just like, yeah, they were definitely demonized for sure. Anybody
Mm.
that was not Israel was not in a straight way. I'll even go even further to say, because children are very inquisitive and wise, and so I'm trying to learn these things. My daughters would ask questions like, okay, you saying people that look like us, so she's an Israelite or she's a Hebrew, and they're saying that, and you got to try to explain, well, no, she's a Christian, they don't keep the commandment, and it's just like, it doesn't even
Right.
make, you can't even be concrete, it does, it's not
Hmm.
even, it don't, it's confusion.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That makes total, yeah. And it really is. It really is, because they really do teach you how to harden your heart. Really
Yeah.
good. Like they'll teach you how to really have a tainted heart full of bitterness, to harden it. And then not only that, especially for the women, the opportunities to free it, to get the bitterness truly relieved from you, to not have a hardened heart. Like you see a lot of individuals in this ministry who speak evil things, who say evil
Yeah.
things,
Yeah,
who
I've seen it. I've heard it.
and they mean it, and they mean it.
They
They
do.
literally speak curses. You know what I mean? And so it's a thing is to where you can just see it manifesting itself in the people, in the saints, so-called saints that are there. You can see it manifest itself, and how stout-hearted they truly are and become as a people, right?
Definitely.
Really truly only have love for whoever Dowell says is okay to love. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
literally, the moment you
Literally.
leave, you're just a piece of trash who they never even knew who you were after that. You're
Yeah.
just a
No
piece of
value.
trash.
No value. Nothing. None of that.
I'm just like, yo, you just telling me how wonderful I was. Like the other day, no, I ain't shit. We were just spending time in the car, kicking it, listening to music. You was telling me all about your life story, and then now you see me. I ain't even gonna make it to heaven. I'm a devil. I'm like, yo, what?
Right.
You
Right.
was just my brother yesterday, it's just amazing how it just flips, and it reminds me of Yeshua and how hard he fought to change that within the people's mindset, to change that within the scribes and Pharisees and the people at that time, how hard he fought to get that to change. And
Yeah.
it's just it's amazing how much of Yeshua's teachings are not present in that ministry at all. I
Right.
don't believe they
Right.
even really try to get the people to sink in on what his true
What
message
he would
was.
really do. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, now, were you pressed to cut off any family members, like, or were you pressed to cut them off, or were you questioned, like, as far as your involvement with those individuals at any point in time?
No, my level of loyalty and submission, I really, I wasn't one of those, like, where there was any concern where I was at. That was very clear. So I
Right.
was never kind of questioned, because I wasn't doing that stuff anyway. I did everything that we're supposed to do, so I definitely cut family members off. I definitely stopped talking to people. I went through pregnancies and did not say anything to my family. Yeah, I did all of that. For years we didn't speak. For years I didn't speak to my mom, I didn't speak to my siblings, best friends. Yeah. And it wasn't like a I
Right.
just stopped talking. I just this is my family. So I just, because I was already like, growing up, we really were not close, like a family oriented
Hmm.
for me growing up. So I kind of always wanted to leave, and that's what attracted me to this place, like many others, how they say you're the black sheep or whatever. That was definitely me. So I
Mm,
knew I wasn't gonna always be around them. And Straitway was the place where that really happened. It was easy to do, based off of how committed I was, and then all the scriptures and stuff that they used to support it. I just did it, so nobody really had to worry about
right,
me. They they knew where I was at.
right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, um, which makes a lot of sense. And, I can see how you can get roped into something like this that presents itself as family oriented, as welcoming, inviting, and also the level of safety and security, right? With individuals. And I know you still got love for a lot of people who are still a part of the ministry and still a part actively within Straitway. And, because not all of them are bad people.
Right.
The leadership is literally a lot of what's wrong with the place, and
Yeah.
it trickles down,
Yeah.
to a lot of the others.
Yeah.
And but in this segment, like the healing, and of course your faith after the fall, after the leaving of Straitway. How has your faith with Yahweh? How has your faith changed since leaving Straitway?
Mm. Um. Now there's no middleman between me and my creator. Um.
Mhm.
I
Right.
haven't left him. I've gone closer to him, and in doing that, I had to leave the box that he was put in. And so my view had to really kind of be reconstructed, because everything that I was taught about knowing him was filtered through, again, that fear and the male ego. And so I don't believe that it requires so much performance. I had to really unlearn the idea that my worth to him was measured by how
Mhm.
much I deny the needs that I have, and not mistake that for I'm denying myself. Um, I had to unlearn that my worth to him was measured by obedience and enduring pain, like just obey no matter what. Don't ask questions, don't think critically. So even after mentally leaving um a place like that, your nervous system still responds to the fear and to the shame and the obedience and all these other things as survival tools. So I think it's easy for people to keep the rules, and it's not necessarily out of faith, but because their body is still somewhat wired to believe that breaking these laws or doing these things means danger. And not even breaking these laws, but just doing something different, or being curious, or just kind of listening more to yourself, really just breaking out of that mold.
Right.
So when your sense of self is like tied to things like head coverings, or your level of submission, leaving those things feels like you're losing who you are. um so I know that it probably is a shock for people to see me without a head covering at times, or the change in my appearance. It's just now I'm able to explore things with a lot more clarity and no fear present. So because of that, the communication between me and the Most High is more clear. I don't feel like I need to do all these things to hear from Him.
Right.
And I'm learning that more and more, that's not true. So yeah.
Oh man, hallelujah. That's what I'm talking about. And so my thing is this, right? When you decided you want to love, because of course, what was mostly the breaking point is a lot of things didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Mitchell from the last interview, or from part one, Mitchell told you something about a situation, but he lied about it, in which you already had the truth. You already understood what truly took place that time, and he just took it upon himself to pull you aside and actually tell you a different type of story. Can you kind of explain what exactly was the situation about, and what was the lie that he may have told to try to, I guess, sway your mind or to win you over? And which, at this point, based on testimonies, this guy is a pathological liar. He's going to say what he got to say to protect and to guard his reputation. And which, of course, I did some research on different types of liars, people who, and he fits a pathological liar, somebody who wants to lie to protect his reputation or to advance his reputation, right? So what was the situation about? What took place during that time? And what was the lies that he actually introduced to you and tried to get you to believe?
Yeah, I really don't want to name the specific situation, but I mean, I can give enough clues, or I guess speak in a certain way that people that are privy enough can put two and two together. But
Right.
as I said, it was an event that is, public, and it's out there, that took place on another community that really kind of shook things up for the entire ministry, just because of the amount of attention that it brought, the severity of what happened. I was just told by someone what happened, um not too far after when it happened. And so, like I said, that already kind of gave me the knowing of what went down. And he just said it didn't, the lie was not even relevant at all. No details were parallel. No, it was just a completely different lie. And that's all I'll say. It was not even close to what had happened. It was just something completely different, basically to make me think that whatever you're seeing out there on the news, that's not what's really happening. That didn't, what they're saying is not true at all.
Right.
It's like it's
Right.
on the news.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, you got the firsthand testimony. You knew exactly. And then his version of it was completely skewed. And he was
Yeah.
not even close to being accurate about the situation. And that's one of the
And I
biggest
will
things.
say, like, I'll say so
Mhm.
much so to the point that I'm wondering, did he even know what happened? Like, maybe there was a talk and they told him something different, because it's like, there's no way he's telling me this. Like, he has to be thinking this too, right? Like, this is information that he got. He's not just telling me this. They told him this, and this is why he's telling me. That's the way I took it, because it was just so far left, you know. And I'm like, man,
Right. Wow.
I
Yeah.
think they
And so
told him a lie.
right. That's great. A shout out to King One. Blessings, Brother Rack and Sister Ray. Very insightful stuff for Yisrael as a whole and on individual basis. Bless you. Bless you. Thank you so much for your donation here tonight. Bless you, King One. Now, my thing is this, right? Is that knowing more about it, I'll parallel him actually doing that with my own personal situation. He came up with some lie, fed that just to be able to protect the reputation of himself and the people who are involved. And that's what I kind of noticed. Just throw me right under the bus. I'm just getting back, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just go ahead and do it. And so that kind of fits that same narrative, that same mode, as well as the level of care, right? Not truly caring about the people, but just putting on a facade that he cares about these people. You know what I mean? It is a thing as well, but I think it's mostly based on the reputation, being sure that you're doing certain things, keeping up certain appearances to be sure that your reputation is where it should be or where you want it to be, how you want to be seen. All right. So, which is unethical. It's something that you should always consider, like the people who you're leading as well, what they could be going through. Now, okay, so now same thing with the healing and faith, right? You got anything you want to add to that?
No.
Okay. All right. So do you still wrestle with any sort of guilt or any sort of doctrine or Are you finding your own peace at the moment?
Absolutely, yes. I'm finding my own peace. Do I struggle with guilt, or what was
Mhm.
the other one? Guilt or
Are any doctrine that you're wrestling with right now? Any guilt or any doctrine you're wrestling with?
um I'm definitely not dealing with any guilt or shame. I'm at a place where I can speak freely about my experience, from a place where, again, I can take accountability and accept that, yeah, that really happened. You really did that. So I'm not, um I don't resonate with any guilt or shame towards it. It happened, and I got what I needed to get out of that experience, and that was it. And dealing with any doctrinal, I will say this. I think that I will always be, coming from a place like that. You'll never be the same.
Mhm.
um
Right.
Again, just the way that society is set up, traditionally and culturally speaking, when I start to truly see how the Bible has been weaponized, especially against women, especially against
Wow.
Black people, just really anybody seeking freedom, I can't unsee it. So then, to make it personal to me, or I can start to trace the harm to my own life, the ways that the scripture was used to silence and control me, and keep me small.
Hmm.
I will be honest with this statement that I make, that I do have a hard time reading the Bible now. And that's just the honest truth. And it has nothing to do with where my faith lies. I don't at all doubt the Father's existence. I can never do that. I know exactly who he is, and that he is what he says he is.
Hmm.
I know who I came from, but I also know that book. I was really trained in it, and there was no lack at Straitway when it came to scriptures, when it came to letters, when it came to Psalms, laws. We got it all. We got it all. But once your mind starts shifting, once you begin to heal and like think critically, honestly, for me, everything in the book starts to also come into question, because when
Right.
our entire way of life was stripped from us. Our
Mm-hmm.
language, our names, our lands, sacred systems that were in practice, all of that was stolen and stripped. So how can we be so sure that this is the version of the truth that we are supposed to follow? And I'm just coming off of my own personal experience with it. I understand that the book was written, but it was transcribed by men that lived in patriarchal systems. These men held power over women. These are the men who shaped theology and the image of empire and everything that is to be. And so, if we're going to talk about like generational curses and breaking them, why are the outcomes still looking the same? Um, why are so many people who claim to be delivered and spiritual still trapped in areas where you can identify the lack and the poverty and the silencing and the fear,
Right.
consistently? This is not liberation. It's not freedom. And I can't ignore the way that, like I said, women, especially Black women, you continue to be suppressed and oppressed, and it's a lot for me to unlearn. Um, and this is exactly why it's so important to me that my healing requires me to not just question the system I was in, but also the source. And so that's kind of where I'm at now, and allowing myself to really truly explore what it is that my creator wants for me. And it's not through someone else's voice or idea, but just really based off of the knowingness inside of me that he gave. And that's where I'm at.
Right. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Bless you on that journey for sure. Because it's definitely a journey. And, I had a premonition about that earlier. Right. And I was thinking, I'm like, yo, with everything that's taking place and the way the prophecy has been laid out in regards to what people would, the characteristics of what people would hold, like having your own personal journey and own personal relationship with the Most High is so important, because it's like, yeah, they throw around forsake not the fellowship of the saints, and then they try to pin you as somebody who people need to hate because maybe you're not currently fellowshipping with a group of people. But my thing is this, right? What if those people are exhibiting what the prophecy foretold? The same things, the same behaviors, the lover of man, the man worship, the scoffers, the mockers, the things like that that are manifesting in people today, lovers of self, right? Idolatrous, right? And you're in that midst to where you're stagnant and not able to actually grow even more, right? Because you're too busy focused on some other man telling you not to forsake fellowship. If you built that relationship with the Most High and you've made it solidified first, you can be even more of a benefit to the body because you solidified your relationship with the Father. You can bring that energy in, and people who are fulfilling the prophecy of what they should not be doing will have no other choice but to see the light that you're shining, to see how you're truly walking by what the Messiah will for you to do. And so, yeah, it's just so important now for us to really, as believers, to really start to realize that anybody who's trying to force you into seeing the flesh, who's trying to force you into identifying things of the flesh and not things of the spirit, things are conditions of the heart, that they need to be ignored at this time, because they're too cardinal to think about things on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
Know,
I would
yeah.
even say too, like if I could add another layer to that, and it kind
Mhm.
of goes back to um how they kind of make you burn bridges and look at people on the outside a different way. Not just those on
Right.
the outside, but going even a step further, and it's those that leave. Um, there's people there that I still love deeply, and that I know still love me, and have even told me that they felt the same way. And
Right.
it 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 brings some attention. Like we have to speak on that, at least the fact of how much of a agenda it is to really again separate and sever these relationships that are needed when you're talking about who you are and what you need and people that love you. People don't talk to me. Saints will not talk to me, and it's not because I hurt them, but it's because now I'm speaking out, or because now I don't have on a head covering all the time. Really, because I told the truth.
Right.
I think it's very sad to say that. I know that a lot of them are now confused because they're questioning if even being connected to me is now rebellious. And
Mhm.
that's not what a righteous, healthy fear does. That's convincing people that love becomes disobedience once someone walks away. And that's heartbreaking.
Exactly.
It's heartbreaking because you're not just to the fact that you've lost this friendship, but you're also watching these people abandon themselves just to stay safe.
Wow. Wow. Just to stay safe. And they're
Yeah.
putting out a huge edict over there in regards to
Right.
what you just got done. Yeah. It's
I
crazy.
can
And
tell
I'm
because
definitely,
I can tell. I have people that
yeah.
I was still very close to, and I stopped texting and I haven't got nothing back, and I understand what it is, so I don't have to, look
Wow.
too far to know what that's about with the timing and everything. And it's just very sad. It's very sad.
Wow. 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 Yes. Okay. So it's just, this is okay, and it really just brings me chills. Like the Holy Spirit just gets amplified at that point, because it's like I think that's just the basis of everything we're doing, is to shake you awake, to get you to wake up and realize what the truth is. My
Yeah.
thing is this, right? What I really would like to, and we're, because I'm pretty much out of questions, okay? And I
Right.
think that we really peel back some great layers. I promise
Mhm.
you this. But one thing that I really want you to speak on is,
Okay.
if you could be able to speak to the younger version of yourself when you were first learning of Straitway, when you were first learning about it, before you actually committed yourself for nearly a decade of your life to this particular ministry, which you found out a lot of different things were fraudulent, were being misleading, misdirecting, trying to pull the cloak of maliciousness over people's eyes, and you witnessed these things and woke up to a lot of it. What would you say to your younger self, before she actually joined Straitway Truth Ministries?
I really like that question. Yeah. I think I would have needed to hear that everything that I was looking for was already in me. I just needed to remember.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. It was already established within you.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. And that's one of the biggest things, is that we all should remember that it's already established within us.
Yes.
Um, do you have anything you want to add to it, or do you want to leave off on? Because I know some of the things, of course, like what's next in your journey. Can you tell more people about what you're doing currently? What you're doing right now? I know I see you got the logo on your shirt. I think I
Yeah.
seen it, yeah, a bit there. Like, so that's your brand, right?
That's my brand,
So
correct.
what's new for you? What's new for you? What's life now? What are you excited about moving forward?
Oh yeah. Okay. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. I'm excited for freedom. Just
Right.
being able to unlearn that I need a system to, steer me in the right place. I know that I need support now. I know that I have the liberty to choose what aligns with me, and being able to see what that has done for me and my daughters has been really transformational in so many ways. Um, I know
Right.
that's, like, I would say freedom is a concept that we speak of, but I really don't know if most of us have tasted it outside of survival, dressed up as obedience. And it's something that I'm still discovering. I feel like I'm finally really truly getting to discover it. And that looks like me being able to raise my daughters without repeating traditions that have been repackaged as culture. Freedom in hearing the Most High in my own voice, in my own self, and trusting that over somebody else's voice. And that's essentially why I've created Ancestral Method, to really just help families heal from the spiritual abuse that has taken place over generations. Um, yeah, Ancestral Method is, it's like a spiritual and an emotional framework. It's a bridge for healing,
Right.
because there's this idea that you have to choose one or the other. Jesus and mental health can't mix. It's either you get a therapist and you do the science route, or you just have blind faith and believe. And so Ancestral Method is kind of like a bridge between where you've been and where you're being called to go. It's not performance based, but it's also not a biblical framework. It's just a space that offers language and tools and guidance that can walk you through, bridging the gap between that religious obedience and the embodied truth of what is actually taking place within you. And also holding support for that and who you are and what you need, so that you can then show up better for the ones that you love. while also giving you a
Right.
safe space to really kind of explore healing and what that looks like outside of all the fear and control. And so, yeah, that's one. But this is actually Fresh Shore. This is my cleaning company. So that's another, I
Very
guess,
nice.
branch that I have. But yeah, we're just really taking it one day at a time. And I feel like now that I'm really able to break generational curses and really trust the Most High in His leading and guiding me, but looking forward in different ways than I've ever been shown. So I feel like my life looks completely different than what others expect it to be, and that lets me know that I'm right where I need to be.
Hallelujah. That's what I'm talking about. Exactly, exactly. And I really appreciate you. So you know, the Q&A, you still good to go for Q&A?
Yeah, we
All
can
right,
do that.
so
We should do that.
all right, cool. We're gonna do a Q&A for everybody. So you can drop your questions, but first, here's a great way to support Ray. You guys, I dropped her Cash App in the chat. You know, of course, you know, this right here, she's going to need help and assistance in a lot of ways. And if you have it in your heart to, or if you're feeling led to give, please do so. It'll be a blessing. You understand what I mean? And she could be able to use it to further advance not only herself, but also the little ones. Of course, she got three daughters right now that she's supporting. And it'll be great if you feel led to give. Her Cash App is in the chat right now, and you can be able to Cash App her a few donations as well, because you know you got school coming up, you got things happening,
Yeah.
and it will be a blessing. I know it'll be a blessing for sure. So please hit the Cash App
Mm.
if you can, guys. Hit the Cash App if you can, if you're feeling led to give. Also, her YouTube channel. This is her YouTube channel as well, Ancestral Method, right? And stress and ancestral method. My apologies,
You're okay. You're
ancestral
okay.
method. So go and check her out. Go and check out her her YouTube channel. Listen, it's been growing. She's just getting started. She's just starting to put out some things to help encourage you all and motivate you in a lot of different ways, you know, and it's a lot of wisdom. A lot of wisdom is coming out, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna have even more gems that she's gonna be dropping over there. I'm gonna drop a link. So hopefully you guys can click on that. This is clickable, and you guys can click and go check her out over on YouTube as well. Okay.
Yeah,
And so,
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok,
and here's
all
her
of those.
Instagram.
We're on all of those. Yeah.
And then we're going to also plug in, okay, yeah, Instagram as well. So if you want to go check her out on IG, you can do so. I'm gonna drop the link for IG for you guys as well. You can be able to go and follow her on IG. And I'm gonna try and see if I can link them in the description box below as well, so you guys can find it easier if you want to come back later. You know, spin the block real quick and then donate to her and her cause. All right. Um, but we're gonna go ahead and get into some questions. You guys drop a few questions in the chat. If you've been with us, I got a few saved, so we're gonna run through them.
Okay.
Where I have stationed weary soul, and I have replenished every sorrowful soul. Okay, Jeremiah 31:25. I like that. That's what's up. You truly are brave for this. Okay, so yeah, officially CYD. You truly are brave for this. Can't wait to meet up with you. Can't wait to meet up with you. Okay. Hallelujah. Yeah, she's definitely bravery is a thing. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and go through a few questions that I saw and plucked out.
Okay.
Okay. How is your faith, sister? How's your faith? Are you still following Yeshua? Are you still following Jesus currently?
Yeah, I think I answered that. I still believe that Jesus is a Messiah. He's the son of our Heavenly Father. I still believe that. I still fill my cup and allow him to nourish me. I believe he died for my sins, and I also believe that he rose for me to be free, and that he fully equipped me with everything that I need to live a life pattern after him. So yes, I think my faith is in a very healthy place, much healthier than it was about a year ago, for sure.
That's good. That's good. Hallelujah. All right. So All right. So was he still a part of Straitway? Just curious. Of course, I think we answered that question already.
Yeah,
No.
no, he's not. No.
Absolutely. Okay, so he's not. He's not it. Oh, okay. Absolutely. Okay, so now got a question here. Was he physically abusive? You know, was your ex-husband physically abusive?
I'm just curious. I want to ask back what's the context or the intent in that? Because there's also mental abuse and emotional abuse, other abuse as well. Why the concern for just physical?
Right, right. So why the concern for just physical, brother Rodney? Um, why concern for just physical? See if you're still with us, you can drop it in the chat. All right. So the main question they need to ask themselves is, are they following Yah or following man? Right? Okay. So not necessarily a question, but a statement, right? A statement. Yeah, I mean, I don't think too often that people are asking that question because they're too caught up in pleasing the man and pleasing the people around them. They're too focused on like making themselves. Now, that's one thing that I really want to talk about, right? When I first got in there first time, right before they put me out, I was in there and I noticed the level of man pleasing that I was looking to do because I wanted to be sure that I was respected, like my name meant something, and that they knew that, like you said, like you said, Ray, that I was a loyal person, that I was proving myself to be
You
somebody who was
down, you
a
down.
resourceful person. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Yeah.
going to put my best foot forward, which kind of really still got me in a lot of trouble because I can't hide the fact that I'm very if I see something I disagree with, I'm very opinionated. I'm gonna say something. You're not gonna stop. So I wasn't like a going along, get along type, because if I saw something that these guys was doing, I would call them out in a heartbeat,
Good
right?
for you. Good.
Yeah, so I didn't do very well at that. Like I always say,
Right.
like I'm not a very good brown noser. I've never been a good ass kisser. I've just have never been that. But I know that I was putting my best foot forward. When I came back a second time, I felt like they had more to prove to me than I had to prove to them. You understand what I'm saying? But I still made myself available in ways that I could be a blessing to the brethren. You know what I mean? As much as possible. But I wasn't doing all the things that I was doing before. I wasn't donating large sums of money. I wasn't working my ass off. You know what I mean? Like I did what I felt I wanted to do. Like I didn't sign
Yeah.
up for the little thing. I didn't sign up for that. And it's just because I wanted to see what they were going to do, like what was going to be offered. You know what I mean? And I think it stemmed because based on how everything took place, I sacrificed so much the first time around and I was giving back so little. And then not only that, they even slandered me on my way out. They even, cut my name down on the way out and all this other stuff. And it wasn't the fact that of anything else. I'm like, wow, okay, well, I need to see some things, right? And so I would say definitely observing, knowing there a lot of them are just strictly there to please other men. They're just there to please each other. It's just man pleasing, man worshiping, and whoever Daddy Dowell say is okay, that's who okay. If he say they not, then they not. If leadership say this, then that's what it is. And it's very robotic, right? It's very robotic. And you don't feel like a man. You don't feel like a man who's leading his house. You feel like a man who
And
has to, yeah,
you don't feel like a man, and your woman sees it, so she respects you even less. She sees you
right.
asking for money. She sees you putting your head down when these leaders
Mm,
walk by. She sees you being a yes man because she knew you before y'all were in there, most likely.
right.
And so she doesn't respect you. And we could go a step further with that and say, on an intimacy level, a lot of abuse takes place in that area too, because again, it's
Mm,
pushed and ingrained, like just the fear that a woman has, of losing her salvation, losing her marriage, losing just a fear of being abandoned, which I think is the biggest thing that happens there. Because like you're saying, these things are happening, and it's like a woman is more keen to it way
Mm.
before her husband picks up on it at times. And to not have a safe space to express these things, she shuts down. But she's still supposed to show up. She's still supposed to, lay with you and be happy to do it. Or because if she doesn't, you can leave her and get another one tomorrow, all these things. So, yeah, that your woman knows and she doesn't respect you, and you know that she doesn't. It's like everybody
Damn.
knows what's going on, but we just gonna keep on performing. We're gonna keep playing the game. We're gonna keep the peace, which is not really peace. We're just afraid of the conflict, and it's
Wow.
sad.
Yeah,
It's sad.
it is sad. Like, yeah, that is sad. Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely is sad. You're absolutely right about that. It's a sad situation. So, but I'm glad whatever discerning that was done had to be done. So,
Yeah.
but spot on with that statement though. I would say Sister Ray give is not give up. Is not give up. Do not give up reading the Bible, but pray for discernment while you are reading. Absolutely, that's great advice. That's great advice coming from an elder. And absolutely, and but of course, follow the Holy Spirit. You know what I mean? Let the Spirit lead you into what you need to do next. Don't, you know what I mean? Let the Spirit guide you, and then when the Spirit gives you that desire, for a while you might neglect it, but then you'll get it. You know what I mean? But it's all based on how you're being led. So, but that's great advice as well.
Yeah, I would say
I
yes,
know we
sir.
have.
Yes, I received it. I hear you.
Hallelujah. Absolutely. Those are a few good questions. What else we got in the chat? I touch and agree. I touch and agree, son. You're definitely determined to stand on the truth or the most high. Yeah, I mean, it's just how I've always been. It's either, hey, I'm right or I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, listen, I don't mind. Listen, I apologize. Yeah, I was wrong. My bad. But if I'm like, listen, the spirit is telling me this is the truth. Man, I'm sorry. You gonna hear from me, and it's like I'm gonna start some trouble. Damn, I can't help it. You know what I mean? Like, oops, sorry. You know what I mean? Like, but they say that I was in there trying to strive for leadership. Man, I was really jacking that up. Like, I was tanking that shit. Because guess what? I was speaking up on everything. Wasn't shit escaping. You know what I mean? Like, yo,
Yeah,
hold
and
on, wait a minute. What you doing?
it's funny
Yeah,
because that's what they tell you to do. If you see something,
right,
say something. They tell you that, but when you actually
right.
do it, it's like you talking too much. Sit down, be quiet, don't say nothing.
Exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? And even when seeing that it's a conflict and it's a problem and they not finna hear you, listen, that don't stop me. Listen, I'm not stopping on that. Like, yeah, you gonna hear this. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. What else we got? Gotcha. I I watch some of those drunk talks, and that tells me all I need to know about Straitway. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Dowell is worse than Jim Jones. Man, he's worse than Warren Jeff. They about the same. Warren Jeff and Dowell are about the same person. You know what I mean?
Mm.
The code of personality, and Dowell is definitely a personality that personifies cult. Shaking my head. Absolutely. Do the men just bury their heads in the sand? LOL. Come on, step up, bro. Yeah.
They do.
What would you think? Hell yeah.
They do.
Absolutely. They do. They
Because
turn a blind eye.
they
Hmm.
do, and the ones that don't, again, they're demonized. So this could be the man that is more of a critical thinker. He's more of an alpha male. He's more of a leader in his home. He's more of a I guess the idea of a patriarch or somebody masculine, but for him to actually act out and do these things makes him like a threat. He is seen as somebody that is not in line with Straitway, and if his wife is on board with him, her too. I don't know about those ones, because he's not just gonna take anything. He asks questions, he
Yeah.
challenges, he sets boundaries on the limits that his wife can do or not do, and they don't like that. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing there. They want you to put community first. But the man that's
Mm.
actually a man and stands for his family to be first because he knows who he is and what he wants and how to execute it, that's not supported. Those are the ones you told to stay away from and don't talk to.
Right. Yeah, those are the ones they demonize, they ostracize, they tell you you're full of pride, full of arrogance, full of you're
Right.
egotistical, all these other things. They definitely demonize and discourage a man from actually standing tall in his manhood and also his priesthood. They strip it bare. And we're gonna go over a lot of that. Listen, I got so many plans for these people, and they just get so upset, because man, they just get so mad because I just listen. And it's just people like you, Ray, who come on to the Worship Podcast, who come out and tell a real life testimony. They can't rebut it, they can't refute it. Only thing they can do is try to talk and run their mouth. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I got your
Right.
back. So I know, listen, I talk shit with the best of them. So let me hear something. It's over. We definitely, I'm definitely addressing it.
Yeah,
And my thing
I
is
expected it. I expected it. I would
yeah,
say it's pretty quiet, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time. I'm pretty ready too. I'm ready to, so
you
we'll
know,
see.
one thing
Because
they
it's
have
not a
never
reason.
said.
That's what
Right.
keeps people silent as well. They don't want to be spoken about. They don't want to be seen in a bad light, and so they hold on to these testimonies and these experiences that they have. They don't say anything out of fear, but it's like I left as blameless as I could be, and all the things that I did in my past, that they may try to bring up, I have repented and been forgiven for. So, it really doesn't matter. It
Mhm.
only makes them look bad, whatever angle they try to come at to say anything. Because I have enough of a testimony and enough people there have a testimony of me to, I would hope, be able to think like that is not the truth, or that's not how it was, or that don't sound like her. So
Right.
I'm,
It'll
I'm ready. I'm sure
backfire.
it's coming. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll backfire. And listen, we're gonna blow that joint up. And it just is what it is. I ain't gonna lie. They understand. I think that they got it. They got the message. I've
Hmm.
studied a lot of cult leaders over the past 25 years. Absolutely. And they all seem to follow the same mantra and motto. It's crazy how they all are very similar.
Hmm.
Are the children of the ministry, are they in danger? Are they in danger? What
Maybe
would you say?
elaborate.
What would you say?
What
What would you say, Ray? What'd you say?
if
Are they
I'm gonna just ask if she can elaborate on that. Are they in danger? Like,
that's brother Angelo. Oh, to answer your question from earlier, brother. Yeah, you can with the podcast, you can either donate through that or sign up for a membership, which of course I'm giving back. It's an even exchange. That's how you get another way you can support, or you can cash app Ray here. You can cash app her a donation as well. That's a great way to support the Worship Podcast, as well as to look out for the people who are actually coming up here and telling their testimonies and putting it all on the line as well. So I appreciate that. Now, can you elaborate on your question in regards to the children of the ministry? Are they in danger? Are they in
I
danger?
think also
Elaborate a
though, I
bit.
mean, everybody's in danger. Everybody's in danger. You
Mhm.
posted a really
Okay,
good
wow.
podcast. That's what even prompted me to reach out to you. The one on the psychological layer of these men carrying these guns, and where they
Oh,
are
okay,
at
right.
mentally, and how that was broke. That was a great eye-opening broadcast to listen to answer that. But I think everybody's in danger. I do.
Wow.
Everybody.
Wow. Bless you. Bless you. I appreciate it. And yeah, I would have to agree with that. everybody who is looking to seek and to join this ministry, based on things that I can't share. I'm not at liberty to share. This is going to get really, really scary, y'all. This is going to get really scary. And if more people don't come out and speak up as to what they have in store, which I'm about to go on a full blitz, I promise you. Listen, the foot ain't off the neck. I'm not letting up. It's not going to get lighter because I see where the need is. It's not about anything else other than seeing where the need is. And a lot of studying and research that I've been doing on what they've been recently pushing, right? They've been recently pushing the, of course, the Essenes. They've been pushing the Essenes. They've been pushing the Dead Sea Scrolls, and this ties into something that's even bigger that is at play here with this particular ministry, and some things that's going to get them caught up in some really, really legal issues. Not only that, but also that's going to have the people suffering. So children, absolutely. There's multiple different ways that have been established. I'm not going to even say that it's speculation because it's not. It's been established that there's multiple ways where they're at jeopardy already. And as well as the adults, the men, they got to watch out. But the women in particular, the women and the children are the ones who are the least safe in this ministry. Okay. Yeah. The women and the children are most vulnerable in this situation. And I would prompt anybody who has anything they can be able to add and contribute to act on it and to do it your part, because honestly, it's just getting worse as the Most High is stripping them bare. He's bringing some judgment upon them, and they're just getting worse. They're just doubling down at the moment. Okay. So and getting more stubborn to what the Most High will for them to do, which is not oppress the people. They're being very oppressive to the people, and they're oppressing them. So this is what we're gonna have to beat down the door like Noah or like Moses. We're gonna have to beat down the door like Moses. Let the people go. Let the people go. All right, because I was born into one spent. All right, yes. I can totally identify with Sis Ray. Hallelujah. Yes, bless you, Sis Rebecca. Yes, sir. Let's see. Boom. Don't worry. You have brothers in here who will stand up for you and your daughters. I will definitely make sure of that by tomorrow on my Facebook live stream. Y'all go check him out, Brother Nathaniel, on Facebook. You be getting on there ripping them up. Absolutely. But they have been taking hit after hit after hit. And I know for sure that they be absolutely pissed. Because like I said, brave people like yourself, Ray, come up here and they make the contributions to the show as well. And, it starts to make those tidal waves. And not to mention some of these guys, man, they are absolutely nuked by the level of truth that's coming out. And listen, definitely can't do this. The Most High is the one who sent these levels of storms at them. You know what I mean? Like, it's a beautiful thing. All right. So, all right. It looks like we don't got too many more questions, but this has been a great experience. This has been a great show. And I know so many people have really gleaned from this. Honestly, tell you the truth. I want you to chew on this. Okay. But I'm going to drop it out here. I've been doing a lot of research on a lot of the things that they're posting on the sister channel that they got, the help meets. I would love it, right? I would love it if you can be able to join me periodically from time to time to break down some of these videos that I may find, or if you may find some, maybe share some with me. You don't have to give me an answer now. You can chew on it and say, you know what, I'll be open to it. But it's totally up to you.
No,
And I would love for that.
I'm ready. I think that's a great idea. Let's do it. Let's
Oh
get
yeah.
the momentum going.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't need to
All right.
think about it.
Absolutely. Hallelujah. Absolutely. Well, yeah, you're welcome on anytime. And my thing is this, when we find these topics, I'm telling you, this is just solely for a lot of the men and also the women to help them. You can relate to them. I'm just on here, a talking head. Listen, not only that, they probably disagree with majority of the stuff I say because I say it so
I'm
so
following.
brutish.
Yeah.
I'm brutish. Listen, I'm very perspicacious. I understand. I'm aware. I'm brutish. I know, but I can't help it a lot of times. But then I can sometimes. But it is what it is. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it do what it do. But you can do it. You can listen. They love you. You know what I mean. So it'll work out. It'll work out. they can receive it. They can receive it a lot better, and that's what I want. I want them to receive it. I want them to be able to take it in. It's not about anything else other than the truth being out there and being able to be delivered appropriately, right?
Yes.
And as well as the way it needs to be, because I need to be brutish. I'm sorry, it's just not going to change, But I can gauge. I can gauge when to shut it down. You know what I mean? I've gotten a lot better at that. But either way, I ain't gonna ramble on. All right, you got okay. Here, I'm gonna drop the link real quick. Ray, you got anything? Did you want to? Are you tapped out? What's up? You talk to me. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm enjoying this. Really enjoy the space and the platform. Allow me to come on and speak not once but twice. I definitely
Mhm.
am anticipating more stuff to come down the line that I think can be very powerful and effective to really just keep rattling people's minds to hopefully, wake up and save themselves. But again, to everybody, thank y'all for the support in any way. Barack said, and it's very true, it's helpful. It's expensive out here. And I'm doing the best I can for me and my girls. But of course, I'm not too ashamed to ask for and receive any help possible with that. It is greatly appreciated for all of the work that I'm doing and I've been allowed to do by the Most High. Creating means of income has been very liberating in itself, to build something and speak on it and present it and, take care of it and watch people support it and, validate it. That's been very very fun. So this is just another part of the work that needs to be done, and I'm just glad that I'm in the space now to do it. The mind space to be able to do it, and I have the capacity to do it. So for as long as I can, I'm going to, because again, I'll keep saying it. We may need to make shirts or something, but she can't say it, but I will. I will. I'm here for that.
Yeah, we need that shirt. Absolutely, we need that. We need
Yeah.
that. Hallelujah. Okay. All right. Well, bless you, my sister. I don't know if you want to stick around on the panel. I know I'm opening the floor up for conversation in regards to what we were unpacking tonight and inviting people up. I see Rylan T. You said you were in Dallas and you're in Houston. If you're feeling comfortable, brother, I would love for you to hit the link and tell us about your experience as well. Briefly, or whatever it may be. Why'd you leave? What was your experience like? What made you want to get up out of there? And I also got brother Yoga here. Bless you, my brother. You are in
I
this
like
joint.
I will say I like his perspective. The times that I've heard yoga, he's very refreshing, and I can tell somebody that has a good relationship with their brain. The thinking is very critical and sharp, and I really enjoy the stuff he has to say. So that's cool that I
Yeah,
get a chance to say that.
Well, thank
yeah,
you. I received that. I'm humble. Am I saying it right, Sister Ray?
Yes, yes, sir.
And I hit the link, Sister Ray. I just got into the house, running around in ATL, and I hit the link, and I caught bits and pieces of what you were saying. And I specifically hit the link today just to speak with you to say, hey, the War Sheep Nation is making it a safe mental and emotional space for the people who gonna put on their boots and walk. And I thank you for having the courage, because this is in the height of the storm. It's in the height of the storm. They big boy Murr, the football player Muir, they about to be on national TV. See when this thing go to court. So this is in the height of the storm, and you putting yourself out here to share your experience, and that's courageous. You going up against a machine that you believed in, a machine that got money behind them, NFL money now, a machine that tomorrow it could be videos slandering you, going at you from the head of the machine. We know that. And so I hit this link in this panel to let you know, we know what might be coming your way. And to say it publicly, we got you. And so we making this say, the War Sheet Nation, Pastor Rufus, Belka Walk, Bell Walk, I almost joined. I was close, but I wasn't gonna give up no financials, so we're gonna bump heads.
Yeah.
It's making this thing safe for the young sisters and brothers that's gonna say, hey, well, look, I do have other choices, and I'm not gonna be excommunicated emotionally and mentally. No, it's gonna be other people that's gonna love me, even though I might have been told to move back from my personal, my blood family. So this is a testament to show the other people that's still sitting in there without running water, without ties to their assets, that's been cut off from their family, and they seeing what's going on. They done seen Becca walk, they done seen Dowell call all the women female dogs, and they wondering right now, and they looking at this podcast on their phones, away from prying eyes at Straitway.
Yeah.
Right now as we talk. So we making this safe space for y'all. Now y'all see what's going on. Yeah. Now if y'all want to go ahead and put on your boots and walk like 20 years, 50 years like Becca and Bell, now you see you ain't gonna be outcast when you so-called come back in Rome, because you never left it. We still in the struggle, we still in the pit, and it's the same thing out here, or perceived out here. And it's all perception. So you're going to still get love. You're going to still be able to fellowship, follow Yah, and you're going to still have people to love you and support you on this social media, where we know that they might try to run, Dowell would try to run and sully your name, sully your reputation, sully your family. He talked about all the men, and then he done took their wives. He done talked about Pastor Rufus, which he named him a pastor, gave him a pastor title. He done dissed and dogged everybody that walked out of there, and to sit there. So I know this is big for you, sister, and that's why I came up here specifically for you. If it make you feel special, it was to make you feel special. That was the intent, because I know what's coming, and to let you know we here to help you fight where they're gonna try to battle it, and they battle it online, and so that's why we fighting it online. And I'm laying my plane there.
Listen,
Well
you
said.
absolutely right, brother. Listen, the level of exposure that came forth through the testimony tonight and the part one is enough to like light some honestly, the world on fire. That whole it's blowing the roof off of that joint. And people who are tuning in, who are secretly, showing up.
We know that they're gonna try to spill this young lady's personal information. We know Dowell gonna line up the other sisters that's there and say, prove to me that you down with Straitway, prove to me that you worthy to Yah, and they're gonna try to show this young lady's personal information. We already see the play of things that's gonna come. See, that's why I'm up here. So that's what's coming, young sister. Dowell gonna go to the other sisters there Straitway and say, prove to me that y'all with me, and I'm the man of y'all. Y'all gonna follow me. And they gonna try to sully your name, put out your personal information, personal things that happen at Straitway, your time at Straitway. So Dowell, we already know your tactics, and you're gonna get some of the younger sisters to do it. They gotta prove themselves, and this is gonna be that they so-called prove themselves, just like they sent out there at Straitway with no running water at Tennessee. See?
Yeah.
Same way. So that's why, Sister Ray, we know what's coming, Sister Ray. He as we talk, he's thinking and brainstorming, who are we gonna pressure? who are we gonna talk to in a certain way. We ain't gonna tell them directly. We're gonna tell them indirectly. You get out there and represent us on this social media and go at Sister Ray. So let's see. So this is a message now to the young sisters at Straitway. We want to see which one of y'all gonna pop up and go at Sister Ray and try to go at her personal stuff or personal things that happen at Straitway. We're gonna see. As soon as one of y'all pop up on social media, we're gonna say, okay, she's auditioning. She's auditioning. Y'all just auditioning. I'm gonna land it there.
Just actors. Welcome in, brother RT. Welcome in. How's it going? You can unmute your mic. Introduce yourself for the audience.
So blessings, everyone. I'm gonna make mine short. And I ain't got nothing directly bad. I have no opinion about any of the stuff that has happened. That things I witnessed. I'm just gonna speak on why I ended up, walking away. And for me, it was one of those. Yeah, everything seemed to be laid out, in front of me. Would have been going to Kentucky and all that. Yeah, it looked pretty, but I found myself being y'all only, and it all began with me having a hard aversion to JC. I see that as the second largest idol to money, but I really was on some real, seeking how to build community and all that. Been on it for many years. And so when kind of brought that to the leadership and everything, the way it got checked down, and of course the way I even approached it wasn't like I was like, but at the end of the day, when Brother Mitchell and I had a conversation, it was like how it was stated. I knew that was the last time I was gonna see that man. And
Right.
I had to go. And my journey since then has been amazing. I learned a lot there.
Good.
And this might sound a little off. I'm not supporting anything about any individual organization. All I'm saying is anyone who has an experience seeking developing community, don't take this as a microcosm. Look at it as a macrocosm experience to figure out how you can, do right, do better, because it's in front of you. The sister's testimony, I'm like, man, that's why I say, just this is the first time on even seeing the platform. So it's encouraging to see people who were dear to me. that's and there are those who I even reached out to years later, who they in it. And I mean, it is what it is, but I feel and that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. I thank you for the time and the opportunity, because at the end of the day, it's what we do, it's what you do. The world falling apart around us, and many people aren't even trying to do anything, but they're doing something. It does speak to many of their characters to just go along, to get along, but they chose to do something. So why don't you choose to do something, but do better, But not that I'm trying to stop the flow of, what happened in people's testimonies. But I just wanted to make that announcement, and thank you.
Absolutely. Now, I got one question for you. Just to clarify, I guess this is a clarification question. So you presented an idea in regards to community to Mitchell. Mitchell kind of shot that down or didn't take it seriously. And you guys kind of had your disagreement or out. And then that's what kind of had you to where you're like, you know what? I think I need to depart.
Yeah, yes and no, but it was more so, it was a number of things, right?
Yes.
There are a number of, but at the end of the day, the thing that the conversation, how it ended, it actually ended on more of a biblical, difference. Like I see,
Mhm.
you know, a difference between JC and say, you know, Yeshua or your host, like whoever you wanna, you know, like I had found where there has to be a distinction, and the mixing of that, you know, is a problem. And I was saying that even to Pastor Dow, like, you know, there at a feast and whatnot, you know, I'm conversating with him, and because of seeing his position and his response to, you know, questions of why it doesn't matter, you know,
Right.
when I believe it definitely does, because there's literally an idol that is called that. Like,
Right. Absolutely.
you
Okay.
know, if
Yeah.
you're not going to make a distinction, then why am I here? Because I'm trying to, you know, figure out how to do it, you know, better. But at the end of the day, that's what took me on the path of being, you know, Yah only. Like he don't need no help. He told me to serve him, you know, like that's where I got. So, you know, it is
Hallelujah.
what it is.
Right. Yeah. And we speaking about the trident that he refuses to get rid of.
Fact, yeah, yeah.
Wow, absolutely. And so, yeah, I know many were like in that same boat with you, brother. Like, honestly, I commend you for standing on truth. Cause I asked him, I'm like, yo, if you say that I can keep this right here, then I might as well go and grab my Nikes out the trash can. You hear me?
Right.
I might as well go and grab the Nikes and put them
Yeah.
back on my feet. You know what I mean? Because listen, the retro J's with, you know, with the Nike check. Listen, I might as well go on buy caught me a pair of those real quick. You know, we're talking about we can keep a trident, and that's what he depicted it as a trident. You know what I mean?
Facts. And you know, at the end of the day, like I said, the experience, things you see, um, I guess out of respect of relationships, you know, I wouldn't really want to, you know. And my mama told me, you know, whatever I do in life, I better, you know, take care of my daddy name, you know. So the
Mm-hmm.
thing that was another level to, you know, the decision, because like no doubt, man, we took care of a widow. We went out there all the time, you know, took care of man. Like it was there's an aspect to where all your energy is going into your community, and the things that you do actually could develop into things that are economic, even, you know, external, bringing resources in. But for the most part, you wouldn't have to do that unless you really wanted to. You know, you like playing the game versus um building something. I would choose building something. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and yeah, that's like, you know, if there's no other place, you know, I go, and no, I'm probably not gonna be there forever, but I go.
Right.
You know, so and this isn't a but. For those who are biblical or whatnot, it says, "Hey, say something. Go on there over there and check it out." So, you know, I'd encourage people to um experience Straitway. You never know who may, you know. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, absolutely. Real quick, in case y'all forgot.
And then the Ninth Ranger, the Trident Frogman. The Trident Frogman. The Trident Frogman.
What? What?
Yo, shout out to brother Nick over there. Message sent. Yeah, the Trident Frogman. Then he tried to sell it off as a fork or utensil. It was crazy how he spun that, man. I was like, I know people ain't. I know y'all got to see this. I know y'all got to see the way that he spun this thing and start calling it a fork instead of what he called it originally, which was the Trident, and it was also inspired by Aquaman, right? By Frogman. You know what I mean? A marine animal. And so now we just going to ignore the marine spirit that they're giving worship to. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so a deity is actively being worshipped every time he puts that on his hat, but y'all just going to ignore it because it's Dowell. I mean, we can't. I just can't make this up enough, right? Am I tripping? I don't know. That's just kind of what I saw.
No, don't let him gaslight you. You're not tripping.
Hey, I don't know what more we gotta say in
Can
regards.
I add to this? Because I'm just not seeing that video, seeing it. Can I add to this?
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna get a yo review on that video we just said, and we'll want to talk. I heard you speak on symbolism and military background, what the military is tied to, royal families, the coat of arms for each country, colonialism, and also it made me think about Pastor Rufus when he said you can't build no houses with no styrofoam Michael Jordans on. And see all that, I'm giving y'all what I just thought while looking at that video in that quick, like 30 seconds. That all those thoughts came across my mind and ended with Pastor Rufus wearing Jordans. And y'all was talking about the Nike check on some Nikes. So,
right.
All right. So Dowell says to leave the Roman world, the American empire, the matrix world, and sell all your belongings and all that. That's what he did. Right?
Yes,
false.
Sir.
False. Now I'm talking directly to you, Dowell. Now I'm talking directly to you because I've analyzed some things. And like I said, y'all can chop this and say, put it at Yoga direct message to Pastor Charles Dowell. I met him in person, put money in his pockets. So I can say this. We stood face to face, shook hands. No, you did not give up everything from the old world, because all on YouTube is the military, paratrooper, everything you base it off of the military, and you back the military credentials to give you certification somewhat in leadership. So that's false. So you did not leave the new world. So we just talking straight debate, man to man, intellect to intellect, facts on facts on what you said and actions. So that's the first contradiction. Second contradiction, you tell your followers to leave all their materials from the old world, from Rome and all that, commercialism, capitalism, and all of that with the Nikes and tennis shoes. But then you sport all of the military regalia at all of the straightway functions on the land. You still wear the military hats. You still wear the military memorabilia on the t-shirts, the jackets, the charms, things are hanging on from the car mirror, rearview mirror. So if you're gonna tell and try to shame Pastor Rufus and the other guys at Straitway for wearing Jordans and they can't wear tennis shoes and stuff like that from capitalism, from what you call the Matrix, America, well, you have to give up also, as you asking your followers to give it up. You cannot be running around with the army stuff and the army paraphernalia and the army stuff and the ranking and all of that. You can't run around and brandish that all on your straightway saints. And then you tell them to give up the Nikes and all of that, because when you go to the Nike basketball camp, guess who's there? The army recruiting Hummer. Guess where you go to the high school football game? Guess who's there? The Navy recruiting Hummer. Guess when you go to the high school baseball game, college baseball game, the Air Force Hummer. And they got speakers and video games and PlayStation and game stations. So Dowell, look, that's the same as you doing, Dowell. Same thing you doing. You holding a Straitway event, you standing in front of the Straitway people as your leader, as the leader, and you're brandishing the military paraphernalia that's tied directly to the 13 families, and we know what's going on. See, now I'm talking intellect to intellect, Dowell. So you sitting up in front of your people and you're not telling your people, because they're not in the right knowledge. And right knowledge in the RITE is in Scottish Rite, York Rite, and the other rites and the Masonic stuff. And you speaking and doing Masonic stuff, but then the other saints don't know that you speaking in Masonic terms to other Masonic saints. So now you're running a dual language inside of Straitway. That's the same thing that they do, what you call in America in the real world. The lawyers and the doctors are speaking in Latin. Everybody else, they tell you Latin dead. And then when you go see the judge and the judicial system, it's all in Latin. And you got to pay somebody to understand these words. You're doing the same dual lingo trick on Straitway by having a secret set society inside of Straitway. And then the evidence of it, Dowell, is when the football players came in, they did not go through the stand in the huts with no running water to prove themselves. They did not go through that. So it shows a hierarchy entrance, hierarchy of socioeconomic level, and hierarchy of ignorance. And based off the hierarchy of it, then they could accept certain things and turn a blind eye to other things. With the little nudging and indirect suggesting from the pulpit on a Sunday when you're seeing what's going on. So now, just looking at that. So for every saint and every sister up at Straitway right now, every time he get in front of y'all with the army stuff on, y'all need to put on y'all Levi's, y'all need to put on the Gucci, the Louis Vuitton, y'all need to put on the Ferragamo loafers. All the NFL players, Kabir and all this, put on all your Mercedes and all your stuff, pull up in the V12. Because Dowell got on all his army stuff and his army regalia. So right there in your actions, Dowell. Now here's another thing. I'm talking directly to Dowell Woodrow Charles Jr. All right. You're a leader of men, and you call yourself a master builder, and you surround yourself with master builders. And on a property that you have dominion over, it's no running water. That's an insult to say you're a master builder. Wouldn't master builder would come under that title, would be on all levels of what we call civilization. We're at this certain level. That's what makes me a master. So you cannot be a master if on the domains of the land that you can control, all of the people is not even at a certain civilization level. That denotes the word and the term and the phrase and the title of M-A-S-T-E-R. We can break that down, the ideology of it, the phonetics of it. That goes back into civilization and a rise to certain level of civilization. So how can you or any other guys on the land at Straitway claim master builders if it's the society and your society is a bubble society? It's a micro society that you can control with your fingerprint on daily activity. So how can you call yourself a master if you don't have the level of society where it's running water on all of the domain that you live on or control? See, it's nothing for us to debate on because, see, I'm not trying to debate scriptures like a Christian. I'm not trying to debate a certain religion with Dowell. I'm just would be bringing out facts. See, it's nothing to argue over with me. So that's why it's no thing of debating and putting up some money where I can debate you, Charles, because I'm not arguing religion. I'm not going to argue religion because, like I said, all this started, I can get real, all of it started, this form of it started when the Europeans created the printing press. And we got these books. But before this printing press in 1490s, we weren't talking like this and weren't moving like this. And I know this for facts. The earth tell you. You didn't want no crosses, none of that around here. It was a mounds and other stuff. So I can't debate you on religion, but how you call yourself a master builder, how you gonna have the army stuff going on, it's just a total shit show when it's actually broken down. It's a total shit show. And you backpedaling. Salute, but damn. So the people at Straitway, he'll a walking contradiction every time he come in front of you talking about that army bullshit. I'm gonna land the plane now.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
I'm gonna sign off, Brother Barack. I'm gonna listen in the back. I'm gonna go ahead and go off the screen though, but I appreciate the time and this is really fun, like I said. So I'm looking forward to what else is in store.
Absolutely. Thank you once again, Sister Ray, for coming up. I really appreciate the testimony. Bless you well. Looking forward to more. Hallelujah. All right. And so Man, you got anything else you want to add to this, brother RT?
Yeah, so even though I said what I said at the end there, the experiences that many that have left and testified to their experience, um to each of them, I want them to know, hey, I see seeing your perspective, yeah, and um I support that truth will always be the light. So be encouraged, continue to, seek what, because I guess in some cases, some find themselves, dare I even say lost, or at a point in your journey, but be encouraged and continue to follow the things that the Most High is putting on your heart, because there's a reason why you're not there, So if I
Absolutely, yeah.
if I could do anything for you, I'm open book, open mic. So holler at me anytime. And next time, hey, I'll know, so I'll be prepared. I'll be on camera with you, bro. Be in a place where everything's situated. But yeah, nah, I'm out in the garden that needs a lot of help.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah, you're welcome to join anytime, my brother. I appreciate you and the contributions that you made today. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on and actually saying your piece, giving a bit of testimony about the reasons why you made your decision. Really does help add and contribute to what the mission is, man. Listen, really appreciate you. Really appreciate the support as well. So thank you.
hey, no problem, cause like I said, I just happened to catch this, so you know I really wasn't even prepared for this conversation because I really don't even know what we're talking about. I really just
Yeah,
jumped in and like I said,
right.
even being able to run into some people I know, some beloved people, man. Last thing I want to say real quick, sustainability sojourner is what I've been doing. That means
Mm.
I've been in many organizations. I'm intentional in trying to build community. And I realized that this is a great place to start it because you can actually get to know people on it. So thank you for the invitation, and let's connect, chop it up, and build, bro.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. Always looking forward to it and structuring it appropriately. You understand what I'm saying? And yes, sir. I'm definitely, let's stay connected. And you're gonna have to change the emails and definitely get connected, my brother. I really appreciate you. Um, so yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely inspired by that. Building with Israel is definitely something that's always been an inspiration for me. I've always wanted to finding solid people, solid individuals that understand not only their worth and their value, but others and respecting it, right? Is something that's been difficult. And I really want that to be the main focus and drive is building with individuals that understand the value of one another and not just the value that they bring to increase their own self. You get what I'm saying? So I think that that's what we all, I think, are searching for a lot. You know what I mean? Like, especially the ones who have left early and have left recently, are looking for, like, I believe the same thing, to tell you the truth. So absolutely. But bless you, my brother. I appreciate you coming on. We about to land this plane here, y'all. This has been a beautiful segment. This has been a beautiful live stream. I appreciate you coming in. If you want to play it back, Sister Ray, who's just here, Ray just gave her testimony. This is our part 2. It was listen, fire. You know what I mean? Shout out to my boy Yoga Warsheep Nation. Yes, sir. Salute to you all who joined in, who contributed, who did what they need to do out here right now, right in the chat room, live right now. Salute to you all.
Carry on.
And carrying on. Don't forget to like this live stream, y'all. Share with those who will need to hear the testimony. Don't forget to help to also show some love to Sister Ray, right? Go ahead and if you got an opportunity, if you're feeling led to hit the Cash App, please. There's the Cash App right there below. Please hit the Cash App if you're feeling led to, and support her over there on her new YouTube channel as well. You understand what I'm saying? Ancestral Method is what her we put it in the links in the chat. You guys hit the links. Go ahead and support her as well. And I appreciate you guys supporting the War Sheep podcast. It's War Sheep Nation, y'all. It's War Sheep Nation. We're gonna bring it to them. All of my righteous alpha men on the way out, please drop a ram in the chat for me, please. And all my elegant women who's exceptional, drop a sheep in the chat for me, please. All of you who are a part of the membership, please don't forget, we got a live stream tomorrow. So y'all better get ready. If you're not a member yet, y'all better sprint over there because we got more updates on the mirror case and more honestly information to bring you in regards to our intergovernmental system, what we got to going on in society. So listen, if you're ready to build, if you're ready to learn, you better get over there and get you a membership and get ready for the live streams because we're going to be dropping them. You know what I mean? There's a lot of information I've been going over and studying. There's a lot to cover. And you guys are going to walk away from that video enlightened. And, you know, I know that for a fact. You guys are going to be enlightened about what's going on currently and how you yourself can make yourself more powerful moving in this country that we know and live in right now. OK, so don't forget to like this video. Listen, we need maximum effort, y'all.
Maximum effort.
Give us maximum effort.
Maximum effort.
Don't forget to share it. Comment, subscribe, and just remember, if you're coming over from Straitway or from if you're faking gay and you want to hate on me, feel free to hate on me. All right.
If there's any haters in here right now that don't have nobody to hate on, feel free to hate on me. Sit back there and say my hair ain't luxurious when you know it is, bitch.
This is my pad. We out. Now this is your brother Barack. We'll see you guys in the next live stream. All right. Peace. Bless you. And shalom, shalom.